What's going on, everybody? ESL Pro League just finished like 1 hour ago, and we're ready to rock with episode 28 of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. It is the 12th of October, 2025. It is 10:15 at night, 22:15 for me over here in Ukraine. For Devwalk in Sweden, that means it's 21:15 for him. We're ready to rock and roll. DW, you were actually watching the final. It was
Yep.
my wife's birthday, so I was in the middle of it. Before we get into, because we'll do the pro league stuff in a little bit, right? What did you do all weekend? What did you do in the last few days?
Oh, I am absolutely destroyed. So if I look stupid, if I sound stupid, it is because I was out drinking with my girlfriend's father and
Okay.
her brothers the next day. So I've had a
Wait, so
bit
you
of a
did
rough
back to
weekend.
back.
Yes, back to back. I'm
Bro, we're
34
getting
year
old
old,
now. Yeah.
and it is one hell of a shock to the body. And yeah, my mind isn't where it should be. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit slow. I'm trying
Yeah.
to pick myself up with some energy. Been chugging down some coffee. I have an energy drink ready. And yeah, hopefully, it's going to be a short one. That's my hope, just because I'm so tired. But I think Banks is going to drive this to
uh, it, I don't know.
a
It could be.
normal episode,
I'm never
which
going to
is
say
still
short
pretty
one.
long.
I'm never going to say a short one because the last time we said short one, then someone was like, still 2 hours, not short.
Yeah,
That's just what happens with the All About Counter Strike podcast. That's what some people obviously love. No one's complaining about the length ever. That's just where we're at with it all. But my weekend's been pretty good, man. Like,
yeah.
I, one day before 1 month release of Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra, I got to S rank. I am now 187 in the entire world for my character. So that's pretty awesome. I play Cauliflower. I've been playing more Cell as well, but we did it on stream. Shout out Eric one time, my Chinese friend who plays from China with me and Devilwalk, plays using exit lag to keep his ping low. And we did what? Before I went to Cyprus on a mini vacation, we did a 14-hour stream. You gave up at like 12 hours, right?
Yeah, I was completely destroyed.
And
But I'm
Eric
more
was there the whole
destroyed
time.
today, to be
Yeah, but
fair.
that's self-inflicted, right? This is just
Yes.
gaming. So Eric was there the whole of that 14-hour stream. And then he also joined for the one where we both got S rank. So like we're cooking. I'm still obsessed with that game. I've even made my own YouTube channel just for that game, making content and tier lists and stuff. I see a bright future in that game. By the way, it's 100% it's gonna be an esport. Like there's gonna be tournaments for it. So that's really cool as well. Um, but yeah, it's been my wife's birthday. So yesterday was just nice and chill. Dinner, spa, stayed in this fancy hotel, nice and chill. And then today we went to a concert, a classical music concert with candles. So they like light candles across the whole stage.
Are you a big fan of classical music, or is this just something that this is 100% for her? Or
I know music, yeah, like as
yeah,
in some of the classical music, like but she's a violin player and a piano player. She was a teacher in violin,
okay,
so like this is definitely her thing. I'll tell you this: I checked the score. So in the first maybe 10, 15 minutes, this stuff was like killing me. I was actually thinking if I close my eyes, I'm sleeping. Like I would be snoring midway through this poor guy playing piano, doing his thing with these candles, yeah. But it had like this slower start and then it ramped all the way up. And then it was more that like like yeah, some
okay,
it's all classic, but it was like, a bit harder hitting. So
yeah,
there was some that I'm down with, but the beginning bit was rough. Like I was seriously worried. I was even checking the score of the finals, like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. But then when we got maybe like 20 minutes into it, it was like a 2 hour concert. Then I didn't check my phone again because it was like, okay, we're starting to go with it. But happy wife, happy life. It's her birthday.
100%.
Now we're back to reality and Counter Strike and everything that comes gloriously with that. So we need to kind of do a stage two and playoff review in one. Um,
Yeah.
for stage two overall, I think we can just go through some of the highs, some of the lows for the teams that were there, right? And where they got within all of this. Um, I don't want to spend loads of time harping on about this. Astralis, I will obviously just say massive disappointment. Last place. You had a rough set of teams to face. You faced Falcons, Aurora, and FaZe Clan, but like, there's moments when I was watching them where I'm just disappointed, you know? Because, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm still living a bit in the past of what we saw in Astana when Hookty first came on. But it's like, I don't expect them to win against Falcons. No one's predicting that. But I just expect more in the matchup. I think I tweeted this as well. Like, I tweeted that I expected more. And even like Aurora was in a weakened state. I felt like they
Yeah.
had a chance to take overpass, but the T side was terrible, which I don't know, maybe with Hooksy's time on G2, they weren't ever playing overpass, right? Maybe that's a factor coming into it. And then even against FaZe, right? Reigns there. It's not the team like you were expecting to see. And everyone performed horrendously. Like, I'm never putting this all on Magisk. I need to check what did Magisk have as a rating for like the whole thing here. Because I like
Well, I
Magisk wasn't even the lowest rated player.
no, no, no. I I don't really know what's going on with Astralis, but I think that to some degree, if you actually look at the teams list and who was actually in here, are they really much better than coming kind of last place or 12th to 14th in a stack tournament like this?
I
Because
would have put them in hoping to be like them hoping personally to be maybe playoffs, one step away from playoffs. Yeah. So the 9th to 11th or the 12th to 14th is where I would put them.
yeah,
Yeah. Like realistically, with a chance of being 5th to 8th. Coming dead last, I know, like I said, the teams they had to play, but it's like you were given FaZe who, yeah, okay, FaZe are not making playoffs, but this is a dead phase, a last hurrah for Rain, you know?
yeah. No, I mean I agree with you. I think there's not that much excitement, being an Astralis fan at this point. I
Yeah.
still think they are where like the results are kind of showing where they are at. I don't hold that much hope for them in a tournament like this. I just I don't know. But the one thing I'll say, you kind of
Hmm.
hope that they maybe are a little bit more in the track of a 3D Max who did pretty well this
Yeah.
tournament.
Yep.
Um, so that they would be a little bit more in the line of that kind of list, but they could maybe potentially upset, play at least close games with some of these top teams.
Hmm.
But that wasn't the case at all. They kind of flunked. I
Yeah.
mean, shit the bed completely. To be honest, I think the only game they did
The
they even
Aurora
have a
one.
chance in the one? Yeah, the Aurora one. Yeah,
Where like they okay, it was 7-5 on their CT side for overpass. I just expected like again, this is a mentality of old looking at device having a magic on overpass, you know, or something like that, or something to take him through. But their T side was just whack. Like I was watching that game, and yeah, it was rough times, and that's an Aurora that wasn't looking too strong here.
yeah.
Next, I want to talk about Gamer Legion because they're on the opposite side of kind of what we just said with Astralis. Like Gamer Legion's run was
I mean, you
Mouse,
have to.
Vitality, Mongols. And also, you just had a new player added, Hypex, right? The Polish slash British guy that has come in. And I don't think, like, this is going to sound like I'm maybe more hating on Astralis, but given the fact that it's almost a new lineup for Gamer Legion, right?
Yeah,
This performance wasn't great. We didn't even see some epic fights coming. Like, maybe you want to see a bit more from PR and Res, which has been the two you're always looking at to do well. But Hypex is just fitting in. You have to play, what is it? Let me just see. It was number 4 Maus, number 2 Vitality, and number 1 Mongols, you know, in Mongols in an elimination game as well. It's tough. Like I'm not expecting you to do well in that situation.
no,
And
I think you're right. I mean, they got unlucky. They didn't really put up a fight against neither Mouse or Vitality.
no.
Uh, but Vitality looked great. You know, Mouse, they're always a stable team when it comes to these like kind of Swiss systems.
Yep.
They always seem to, play well, at least in the group stage. I think you can question them a little bit more in terms of like the semifinals, etc.,
Hmm.
against one more of the equal opponents. But yeah, it's unlucky for Gamer Legion. I agree with you. You can't really fault them too much. They put a fight up against Mongols and could have probably won against the Mongols.
Yeah.
With a new player, Hypex looks better. I think they look better, but they obviously have a little bit of catch up to do to kind of get him up to speed, and it brings the whole team down. We've talked about it many times. Like
Hmm.
when you have a new player, you kind of have to rehash all of the systems and stuff and rules that you have as a team,
Yep.
and every other team is kind of improving and applying more layers to their play, and gamer leader kind of in a stopped in that sense. They kind of have to just rehash the old stuff.
Yeah, and I think also for Game Legion, it's like I'll give them that more time because of all this that's going on, and let's just see how they can do it the major kind of thing. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking at for it. But this is definitely, I agree with you. Hypex is an improvement on what we have from Kersey. Um, so I feel like this can be a good thing for the future for sure. Next is Hotu. Now we spoke a lot about Hotu, right? Not just because their great performance in stage one, but even the time where they were a Asian core that's now in the European ranking because obviously the VRS changes everything. Was playing a lot of Asian events in general, and I would say we're just slamming everyone there, right? But now this is a legitimate team. Now people's going to look at this and think, "What are you talking about, Banks?" Well, they're two Wonder Mongols who obviously showed that they did have some struggles, right? This is not the strongest Mongols form we have seen. I think part of that, and we'll come to the Mongols a bit later, is just some of the decision making Mongols is having outside of the game.
Yep.
Um, but then Hotu faced Spirit. Now, okay, Spirit is obviously incredibly strong team. I don't expect them to do well there. Then they took get 2-0'd by Vitality. I did expect them actually to put up more of a fight against Navi. I thought that like there was potential Navi could drop a map. There was
Yep.
potential that Hotu would have a chance maybe on Ancient in there, but obviously we always talk about this, right? It's the Makazi specialist map, but Bit also had a field day. So I would just say this for Hotu for me is that Frontails looks like a really solid player individually, got great potential, and Norbert is a great addition. I believe he's on a 2-month loan or something like that. Um,
Okay.
I hope they keep him. I really hope they keep him.
Yeah, I mean, I think they impressed everyone. I mean, I think everyone were kind of like, yeah, they're gonna get destroyed this game, next game, next game, and they just kept up picking up a fight. I mean, maybe not so much against Spirit, but I still think they were in the game against Vitality for quite a long while. I mean, if you look at Hotto as a team, and you look at Gamer Legion's game against Vitality, and kind of compare them. Hottest at least, put up a fight and they were kind of in the game at certain points. And against
Mhm.
Navi, I would still argue the same, even though all these top teams, Vitalities, the Navi and Spirit, they had control over the game, but it wasn't, like Hotto couldn't win rounds or do
Yeah.
damage. I still think they were probably quite of an annoying team to play against. Like, you don't really know
Yeah.
what you're going up against, and, some of that, I would I don't know what to call it, randomness or,
Mhm.
um, maybe a little bit more gamble CS compared to what they're
Mhm.
used to is always a little bit tough to play against.
Yeah, definitely. Gentlemates, who obviously we saw at Star Series, we saw they were desperately trying to get their way into qualify for the major, then it doesn't end up happening for them the way they wanted.
Yeah.
Obviously, need a lot of win conditions for them. They did manage to start off with a 2-0 against Vitality. This looked like another game where could you send the alarm bells for Vitality? Obviously not. We know what happens, right? But I mean, it's just Vitality not coming into the server correctly. It's Vitality not coming up to their own level. You get 2-0'd by Mongols, Aurora, and Maus after that. Obviously, it's a strong set of teams they had to face.
Yep.
Like going 1-0 was like huge anyway. Beating Vitality is crazy.
But it's
But
also that
obviously,
kind of French organization rivalry because if I'm not wrong, I think they have huge rivalries in other games. These two organizations.
okay. I know General Mates is
Um,
French. I know nothing about like the other rivalry these they
yeah,
have.
but I'm pretty sure. I can't tell you which games they actually are rivals in, but I've heard they are
Mhm.
like extreme rivals in a lot of different games. So this was like a huge win for Gentlemates in terms of kind of gaining traction from their fan base to some
Yeah.
degree. That this was the right choice because if you look at it, on paper, people don't maybe watch CS and coming from another game, etc. This might look like a weird pickup in terms of full Spanish roster into a French organization. So I think they gained kind of, yeah, a lot of the fans like, oh, we can actually compete with some of the best in the world.
I will say
So
as
I,
well,
yeah,
Martinez, just he's always good in any game, no matter how badly they lose, to
yeah,
have a moment. Like this guy is sometimes so explosive, so good on the decision making. He's very good at these like quick thinking, like I'm just going to do this, this, and this, and like planning out in his head. He's not maybe as consistent as you want, but like just look at his rating. Where is it? He
I
was
still think
1.09.
he's
No
still
one
the
else is
most
over 1.0
consistent. He's still the most consistent player in their team. Like
in their
there's,
team. Yes, but I
I think he
mean,
has really high highs, but he doesn't really have the same lows as I've seen him in the past.
he
I
can
think
hang
he's,
with anyone.
yeah,
He can hang with anyone.
100%.
And what I say with him, right, is that he'll always have one or two of these moments, win or lose. We'll always get this. But it's how can you activate him to be maybe like the star supreme ultra carry? That's what they need. Or they need another change going forward, Because like they are at that point where it reminds me of Movistar on the come up, but they just need some more opportunities to show it.
Yeah. No, I think
Uh,
they're also one of those teams that's, it's kind of hard to play against, even if you're a favorite. Going
yep.
against Gentlemates, who they play a lot on momentum. Like once they start to get rolling, they're really really hard to kind of break down, and yeah, they just play with so much confidence once the ball starts rolling. So really scary to play against because if you lose the control and give them a little bit too much space, they can, as we saw, beat anyone like beating
Hmm.
Vitality. And they actually had a couple of good maps, Mirage against Mouse. They played, you know, decent Train, but they seem to have
Torsey
those
also
maps
said,
where, yeah,
sorry, so Torsey said after that game, he was like, we were like worried about Mirage. Like it
yeah.
wasn't an easy game. They did think that that was one that could have slipped away from them.
So they are a tough team to go up against. I mean, they played pretty much all the, well, three of the best teams in the world, and they
Yep.
were close to picking up a map against, you know, everyone they played against. So I think they just need a little bit maybe stability in their map pool because it always seems
Hmm.
like they have a map where they get absolutely demolished on, and then they play close on another one. So give them some more time, gain some stability, and like you said, it's looking good. I mean, can't complain.
And it also does look like they're trying to improve their map pool because if you remember at Star Series, they were trash
Yeah,
on Mirage. Their coach
yeah, yeah,
even told me that like my team hates Mirage. We don't like Mirage. We approach it in the wrong way. And at least coming into Pro League, they showed that they were making some improvements. It may not be like super positive, not the best map for them, but they're a team that can work on their flaws and improve. And that's obviously
yeah.
always a positive sign to see. From Gentlemates, we can go to Inner Circle. So Inner Circle, where did they finish? They finished in
And 1-3.
11th. Yeah, 12th to 14th. 12th to 14th for Inner Circle. So I will say this. It was good that they could challenge and take a map from Spirit. The Mongols win. I'm just going to take as a caveat because Mongols was not alive in the first few games. They were playing the game on hard mode. Still a good scalp for them to take. Um, the Furia game, they got 2-0. The FaZe game, they got 2-0 as well. Was it Kearney? He broke his mouse from tilting.
Yeah.
That's pretty fantastic. He said in the interview to HLTV, like, yeah, I won't do that again. He had to play with a wired mouse, right? There's obviously some drama around the way that Kane worded it, like, oh, ESL gave him a wired mouse, so like that was harder for us to play with. It's like, well, they don't actually have to give you any mouse. Like you, as
No,
any player, should have always a backup mouse. Like this is just we
especially if
probably
you like to hit your mouse that
yeah,
hard.
bro. How many players have we seen pick up the mouse and drop it on the table, right? For example, I've seen many times Yabby even like looking at his mouse, squeezing his mouse. That's a
Like
classic
Darth
Yabby
Vadering the
moment.
mouse. Like
Yeah, for real. And this is a message to all pro players everywhere around the world, no matter what game you're playing. Pack two of everything. You are all paid enough money to have one set in your backpack because you don't know if your luggage will get lost, and one set in your luggage. This is a must for every event because guess what? You go to a country and just say they don't stock that brand of mouse or that exact model, you're screwed. Maybe you're like, super, I have to have this mouse pad. Maybe they don't sell that mouse pad. Don't risk it. Also, most of these companies will probably send it to you. They will
yes.
probably just give it to you because it benefits them in the marketing and what you see on it. So there is zero excuse. Don't do this again. And this isn't just for him. This is not like I'm ribbing on him. This is every pro player. Do not risk it. It's not worth it.
Well, the one thing I'll say, I mean, they're obviously incredibly new to the professional scene. This team, they kind
Mhm.
of popped out of
They've
nowhere.
got Kane as a coach, though. That doesn't excuse him anything.
Yeah, that
He
true,
knows.
but I'll give them a little bit of a pass, and I'm sure that
You're too
this
nice.
won't happen again.
Definitely
You
not.
know, sometimes you gotta have these moments where you just look like an idiot, and then move on and make sure you don't look like an idiot again.
Is it true? That I'll take. That's a good way to end it. But Inner Circle is an interesting team for the future. It's another all Ukrainian team as well. And I just remember people saying, obviously, when the war started, that oh, unless you can mix in with like the Russian players, there'll be no Ukrainian scene. Well, we're already not just seeing
It's
individual players anymore. We're seeing
even
multiple
better.
teams come up, and they're just finding more talented players. The there is hubs just for Ukrainian players, right? And Petrick runs one of them. Was a commentator. Now he does like a lot of the commentary and analysts on his own channels. He's very like solo mode on it all.
Yep.
Bro, they're running all the time. All these young players coming up, trying to get it done. So that it's growing in a good way.
Yep.
It's super positive. It's not. And by the way, it's definitely not a small country or a small region. Like it's got a lot of players
No.
they can pull from.
No, 100%. But it is incredibly impressive that a region, obviously a country who's at war,
Yep.
can continuously produce these teams out of nowhere and players and talent. And, you know, it makes me feel even worse for the Swedish scene in some sense, because yeah,
Do you
it's
want me to
not
make you feel
going.
better about it? Yeah, I'll help you. Your country is too rich. It has too much natural success outside of esports that there's a disbalance in what your mind says. So I always look at it this way. The average salary compared to Sweden and Ukraine, there's a huge difference here, Devwalk.
There
Yeah.
is, yes. You can. It's
So
much easier
for a
to live on.
player to live on Counter Strike in Sweden, you're going to be staying with your mum for a long time until you like really skyrocket and make it. Yeah. For these guys, they can just win a couple of CCTs. They can just win a couple of online
True.
events, and you go, cool. I'm living good. I'm living better than most. That's just how it works. That's why I always said, like, even for the UK scene as an example, it always struggled because some of our best players would still be doing uni on the side, and then they finish uni and they get a job which would far surpass what they could earn in esports, especially
Yeah.
being a British player. Like they can just go instantly into a job that pays 3 or 4 times the amount that a UK player would get.
Yeah, you can't really live in a London apartment on your own with a with an early,
No way, bro.
semi-professional contract grinding your way up.
And also, British parents in general, like I don't think they're just keeping their kids in their house for too long. Like there's a limit, or you got to start paying your parents some money as well. Depends on the circumstances. So yeah,
True.
there's a lot of factors with this. So don't be too hard on. I'm being the nice guy now. You don't have to be too hard on the Swedes with that one.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Now for Mongols, do you know what? When like their matchups in general, this was just whole thing was crazy. You lose to Hotu to start off with, right? Okay, it's a first game. I can say, sure. Yeah. Then you lose to Inner Circle 2-0, and I'm like, maybe I'm a little bit nervous. You beat Gamer Legion, but it still goes to 3 maps, and I'm thinking, okay, we're not out of the woods. Then you beat Gentlemates 2-0. When I saw the matchup, Navi versus Mongols, I was scared for Navi. I was like, okay, Mongols is trying to go complete this lower bracket run. They are going to make it to playoffs, and everything will go back to normal for these guys. What I have heard and I don't have this confirmed. I actually probably need to speak to Mazzino. He's the one who talks to me the most on Instagram. Um, I should have checked this, but I've been busy all weekend. I heard that they've been going back to Mongolia. So I'm thinking there might have been a bit of like maybe not as much practice. Obviously, they've got so many events at the end of the year. They're even entering this Thunder Pick thing. Yeah. I think they're doing Thunder Pick. They're not doing CAC. So they do Thunder Pick, Chengdu, Hong Kong, Major. So I understand they want to go home to Mongolia if that's the case, right? This is just what I heard. I'm not saying it's a 100% fact.
But don't you think like this is a case of them being a little bit burnt out, considering how many tournaments that they've kind of gone to? Obviously,
Yeah.
not been at home, not
Deep runs.
yeah, just been grinding, 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 and it's possibly the worst timing you could have as a team a month before the major. You're looking like a little bit burnt out. Things aren't really running as smoothly, and that's not an easy thing you can just flip. You can't just like, okay, we'll take 2 days rest, and all of a sudden you're back into things.
Yeah.
That's something that takes, you need a real reset. You need like a couple of weeks at minimum to
Yeah.
kind of flip that. We saw what happened to Vitality to some degree, um, that they dropped in things. And it's taken them quite a while to kind of at least push their way back into shape.
Yep.
Um, and I'm worried for Mongols because of this, because it looks like this might be a continuous thing. It might not be just a one-off tournament where things are bad. It might be, you know, them just getting way too burnt out from playing so many tournaments and traveling so much
Yep.
that, yeah, it's kind of screwing their major hopes for that.
Hopefully not. Hopefully there's an adjustment it can have. There is a lot of events still that they're entered into. But do you remember at the beginning of the year, the two teams we saw that said yes to every tournament?
Yep.
Eternal Fire slash Aurora, obviously it's changed throughout the year, and also Mongols. They were everywhere. There was no tournament they were saying no to. Now, obviously, Mongols and Aurora constantly making playoffs. Mongols obviously beating Aurora in Esports World Cup, taking the first place, taking their first S tier trophy. Obviously, hugely impressive run, even beating Vitality at the time, in the
Yep.
semis. Um, then obviously going home from Mongolia is not so easy to play. Yeah. They do play in Europe server from Mongolia, but it's like 120 ping. I spoke to Mazzino about this. But like Mazzino goes home, streams and grinds. Like he's been streaming more. So he's on game. He wants to play a lot. But I'm sure some of the older players might want a bit more relaxed, see family, friends, which obviously you all need to reset and get into it. Mazzino being the youngest, right? It kind of makes sense in that narrative. Um, but it's like your first esports World Cup, second at Fissure, ninth to 11th now at ESL Pro League, and you've got a hell of a lot of events going. I'm guessing they stayed in Europe. They probably did not go home between Pro League and Thunderpick, which is obviously the last game was on the 8th and this 15th. So 7 days in between, plus there's a media day in there, whatever, travel day, however it works. It is a worry, but I'm hoping after Thunder Pick, they just go back to Mongolia because then the next event will be Chengdu. Mongolia to China is not crazy. How far is it before I say something stupid?
But
Mongolia.
it's not only that, obviously they are an incredible success story from their country.
Yep.
Every single Mongolian person knows pretty much who they are, and the government comes in and kind of helps them out or sponsor them. I'm not really sure what exactly it is, but they're at least involved in some sense. And yeah, I'm thinking, they're getting burned out. They're winning. They're playing so many tournaments, and they probably have a lot more like social events and stuff like that that they kind of turn into in Mongolia, which
Dude,
obviously drives up the pressure a bit.
I like this is crazy. I feel so bad for these guys. Yeah. So I've just typed Mongolia to Chengdu, right? Let's put the actual
Yeah,
city.
you're checking their flights.
I'm just trying to see the flight timings, yeah. Fly to Chengdu, yeah, from Ulaanbaatar is still 7 hours.
Yeah,
I thought they would hit like some 4 hour kind of Europe style go across. Bro, it's still 7 hours and 9 minutes. They got to go Ulaanbaatar to Beijing, Beijing to Chengdu. They could drive for 31 hours. Obviously, no. I'm just this is all options. This is all options. I'm using a website here. Um, they can take train and bus for 33 hours. But I mean, I thought this would be a win for them, you know? At least, okay, there's one good flight, but a lot of other teams have it as well. Chengdu to Hong Kong is like 3 hours. So that's a positive. So yeah, either way, it's not pretty for these guys, that's for sure. It's not not the greatest run, but I'm not going to say right now that this result is worrying. I want to see what happens at Thunderpick because they should be the favorites there, and this should be another tournament for them to win. We'll talk about that later on, but I'm not ringing the alarm bells yet on
I'm
Mongols
I'm
doing
I'm
incredibly
worried
well.
I might be right, but I don't know. Obviously, this
Okay,
could definitely be a one-off event, and things
yeah,
didn't click. And but yeah, I want them to be in the best shape possible for the major because I think it's
yeah,
going to be super exciting to have this many teams in this kind of place where we don't know who's going to win.
hmm.
But yeah, I mean, not a good event from the Mongols in general.
And also not a good event for G2, who kind of maybe peaked a little bit too early, maybe in some people's eyes. Obviously, they're winning the Blast Open London, and we were praising them for that game against Vitality and everything like that. But obviously, we spoke about the 58th place at Fissure. They struggled in stage one of EPL, and here against much better teams. Okay, they beat Furia. That showed me a good sign. Losing to Spirit, losing to Vitality, losing to 3D Max. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about 3D Max, but I would still put this G2 above them. Hunter's tweet as well, like he put a lot of it on himself. And I'm just going to always remind players here, it is a team game. It is not just about him. But he said something like, let's have a look, it's loading now.
But we also have to say, 3D Max had a really good event. Like they were playing really well. So
Yeah.
it's not the they were kind of a tier above what it normally is or what we've seen. So 3D Max were a really dangerous team. So I don't think there's any shame in losing to them. Even if you look at 3D Max versus
But would you not
Falcons.
put G2 above them?
I mean, before the tournament, 100%. But I I would probably put them in the same tier right now after this tournament.
Okay.
Um, I think that's fair. I think G2 still has a lot of growth to do. Because it's not easy to just come in. You have zero, maybe not zero in-game leading experience, but he's very new to it,
Yep.
and it's gonna take him a little bit of time to kind of sort that thing out. And I don't think it's, as you say, I don't think it's on Hunter at all.
No,
I
that's
think
what the.
you could look at the mouse problem and see the support system that Brolan has in comparison, where obviously you have Surgeon who helps a lot with the calling sometimes,
Mhm.
maybe even takes over at certain moments, um, and you could ask the question: does Hunter have the same support system in terms of calling? Does he have
Probably not.
everything he need? Because there's one thing, making a game plan, following a game plan that obviously Saw has.
Yep.
But if he has 3 pauses per game, he can't really impact the game and shift it too much as a coach. Then you need someone else to be able to bring you some ideas and kind of help you out and hold your hand when you're struggling, especially as a new in-game leader.
And I'll just say this, right? That for me, this G2 maybe problem in recent events is in London, we saw Matties and Heavy God play insane. Heavy
Yeah,
God getting the MVP as well, right? Malbs is still very inconsistent, despite us hearing from himself that his own confidence was coming back. We obviously credited Saw being able to get the most out of all these guys, but Hunter can't be expected to do anything. And I'm not going to just blame calls if like Malbs, Matties, and Heavy God have had a significant individual fallback, you know?
yeah.
But that's your players still need to do what they're supposed to do. Yeah. And this isn't like pointing out that they're suddenly bad or something, but could it now be where we look at this and say they had a bit of an overperformance in London? And that now we're starting to see some of the cracks start to show?
I mean, I think it's one of those things. Probably, they went 2-0 in the Swiss system early on. Um, and it's always really tough when you go 2-0 and start losing. You're gonna have, really hard opponents. Obviously, they got Vitality after.
They didn't go 2-0. They
And
went 1 they went 1-0. They beat Fury and then they lost Spirit.
no, they went 2-0.
No.
But early on, they beat FaZe, right? And they beat
No. Are you talking
Furia.
about G2?
Yeah.
No, they didn't beat Phaser. I'm not
Well,
counting
they,
that.
well, they
That's a
won.
forfeit.
Yeah,
It's a bro.
but they're still in the 2-0 bracket.
Okay, okay. You're right. They're in that bracket, but I'm like, you got a free win. That's not a
Yes, but they
match.
were in the 2-0 bracket.
Okay, your point is valid for saying they're in the 2-0 bracket.
Yes.
I ignore
I'm
the
just saying
match.
it's one of the toughest things about Swiss system is when you start
Mhm.
in that you're only gonna be playing the best teams from now on, right? Except maybe that's the 2-2 game. Um,
Yeah,
it's
which is the
almost
one we expect them to
easier to
win.
kind of grind your way up from like a 0-1 situation than having that 2-0 in a weird way. Ju-
Hmm.
just because if you're in that middle pack of teams, it's really hard to get surprise win when it's do or die moments for a lot of these teams. You're playing a Vitality who has tons of experience with that. Then you go against obviously 3D Max is disappointing, but you had Spirit, Vitality, 3D Max.
Yeah.
It's tough games, especially with the form that 3D Max showed, and the amount of pressure coming from that 2-0 bracket. They're just too new of a team to kind of
Hmm.
withstand that pressure, I think. I still think they're a good team. They have a massive amounts of potential. But it is, as you say, you kind of need Mattis, Malbs, and Heavy God to just be absolute, world beaters in
Yeah.
form to
Yeah.
compete.
And we know they can do it. So let's see what the future holds for other events for G2. But still below par showing from them across all of EPL, both stages,
It
because they
is a
only
tough
just about made
stage,
it
though.
last
We
time.
have to be honest.
Yeah,
If
but
you
the
look at
first
the
stage they
teams,
struggled in.
yeah, yeah.
So it was tough overall, right? Um, Next, we've got to look at Aurora because I'm going to hit you with a wild point when we get to the end of this. But losing to Navi, beating Astralis Gentlemates, losing to Furia, losing to FaZe. FaZe obviously had normally been a team that like always had tough games against Aurora. Aurora had had some really good runs against them over and over again. Um, Obviously, Twist was shining, I think, mostly for FaZe, but it's him and Frozen as like a wombo combo as Brokey's dropped down a bit more. Um, how do you view Aurora? I'll ask you this first after this, because obviously we're always talking about them being a playoff team and where they can get to. But for me, I'm not so sold on that anymore.
Um, I think to some extent, I think you're right. I think there's almost like when they were this automatic kind of playoff team. We had Mongols, we had Aurora would be up there, and we
Yep.
had obviously like we had the Face, Navi, Spirit, Mouse, Vitality.
Yep.
I think now adding in, the Furia, the G2, kind of into that mix with, obviously Spirit, 3D Max getting to
Ah,
that kind of same level. I think 3D Max and
you're
Aurora are
more
not far
positive on them
apart,
more than me
but I think it's the addition of Furia kind of like knocked them down into not securing
out of it.
playoff.
Yeah.
Um, it's a weird one because I've always seen them as slightly inconsistent in some way in my mind. That
Hmm.
yes, they can have great maps, but I think a lot of that was when they had Anubis as their home map. They were really, really, really strong and annoying to play against because they could almost guarantee themselves a win, even against the best teams in the world on
Hmm.
that map. Whilst right now, I don't really know, like, they don't have that strong map that just beats everyone. And I
Yeah.
think that kind of nerfed them. The removal of Anubis
We
really
spoke
hurt
about
them.
that. And they also had a map before that got removed where, like, I can't remember which one it was, but their strongest map got removed last time that was around. Vertigo.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
exactly.
like they've been double
So
slapped by the Valve bans.
so I think it's not necessarily that they're worse. They just don't have that map. They're just really, really good on theory wise, where
Yeah.
their playstyle just suits them. Everything just fits. Now it's a little bit more. You could argue nuke maybe, but at the same time, it doesn't. It's not really an Aurora map. I don't actually have to actually check here. What do they actually go for in these games consistently? Do they have a spread pick or so they picked Train,
Hmm.
they picked Inferno, they picked Train again. Uh,
I
so
do think
Train is
Walker can also
essentially.
be really good on train. Like this is just again,
But
I'm
they
not
had
looking at any
three different
stats. It's
picks.
good.
They had Dust 2, Train,
Yep.
and Inferno as picks in these 5 games or six. Yeah, 5 games.
So they don't have a
That's
perma
still,
home they've got confidence in.
yeah. I feel like that is what hurts them. They don't have that fortress of a map. They can just bump themselves up in the series.
Now, did you see the crazy matchup play on Dust 2 against Brokey for that
I
1v?
saw that live. I was,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Dude, so the thing is, he should know better, but obviously there's a lot going on. Yeah, we all know this. We've all been in these situations. You might not be quite keeping track of it. He thought he could go in for the kill. But obviously it cost them a round and it was a huge blunder. And they were actually in a position where they were starting to build like a comeback where they could have taken that map, just in theory, right?
But
But I think
generally,
people
when
are.
you're in a situation like that, right? Every
Mhm.
single teammate will be saying time, 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 time
I
in
would
your
love to
team
think
speak.
so. I would love to think so.
If that didn't happen, then I don't blame him. But
Yeah.
if normal communication happened, there is no freaking way that should ever happen. Like it's a massive blunder, and it set
Yeah.
them back so much on that dust too. Um, and I just think they were like
Mentally.
they were in shock. Everyone was in shock. You could see their faces. They're like everyone in the camera was like
No, dude, do you know what? I'll say this.
shell
Did
shocked.
you see that crazy moment Jota had on Dust 2 as well? Where he was spraying blind, recontrolled the spray, waiting for the other guy to swing B doors, killed him as well, and killed the guy pushing the smoke.
I'm not. My brain is not as it
Okay,
should
I'll
be
just say
today.
there was an epic moment where he pulled off a sick moment. He stands up out of his chair. Yeah, he looks so excited and happy, and then because obviously they started to lose a string of rounds and it wasn't looking good, no one else like hyped him up. Everyone else was just dead,
Ah,
and I'm thinking, boys, all of you except for Jota and Wakadia have enough experience where even if you're having a bad game, step up and give them some love
yeah.
because they were down 7-3 at the time. He basically blind single handedly, crazy moves, crazy one tap. Yeah. He stands up and he's so hyped. And then literally the camera just cuts and everyone else is just, oh, yeah, yeah. Like there wasn't. Now, I'm only looking at it from the camera angles that ESL provided us, right, for the stream. I wasn't there in person to talk about it. But I mean, that was a sign of like you were almost down and out of it. But then you start off the T side, you win pistol, you lose the second round, and you still then come back with 4 consecutive T side rounds. And then obviously the the crazy moment happens, and like then they start
Yeah,
to
but
fall apart
I'm
and
pretty sure that if they win that round, they win the
they win them.
series.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. And by the way, we spoke about this. They just had a performance coach added. First event was Esports World Cup for this performance
And he
coach.
got a
He's now had a
nightmare
few
start.
events. It's like we've only started to go worse. This is not what I wanted. Obviously, I'm not blaming him, but I mean, like, I'll hit you with this last thing because I don't want to spend too much time on Aurora.
Yep.
If this bad form continues and they don't go deeper at playoffs or something, do we say Madra to coach and you try and bring someone else in?
I mean, I don't think Major is like a massive problem in. Aurora. I actually think he's probably the one guy that makes this team work. I might not
Mhm,
always be like a super fan of their calling style or something like that, but I think he is what has made this team work.
mhm.
From the
Could he do
get
that as
go.
coach?
Yeah, but I mean, obviously he could, but I don't think he's going to be a guy where he just hangs up his mouth and is able to just go from being, a leader in a top 10 team to just coaching and have the same motivation. I think he needs to play until
Yeah,
he feels ready to do it. And in some sense, you also have to think like, okay, they're a full Turkish team. They're
yep.
ranked what, ninth in the world in Valve ranking.
Have a look. 9th in the world Valve, yeah, 8th in
That's
HSEV.
still pretty good. Like it's still pretty damn good.
Considering how also Turkey is plagued by the fact that the government doesn't like this game, betting's not allowed, like it's very limited in comparison to like a
Yeah.
Valorant, which is so popular there. They are the team that makes everyone want to play CS.
The question is like, okay, if you remove Major, and you bring in someone, but what is the potential you're seeking to be? What rank do you think that you could possibly get yourself into by doing this move?
And also, who do you get? Because there's the Eternal Fire, which is like, by the way, I checked this before coming on, and I almost don't want to say it in case I sound stupid, but they had two Polish players. And I was like, I thought Eternal Fire was a Turkish, yeah, it's three Turkish players and two Polish players. Don't know what's going on there, but whatever the hell. I I don't know where they go as Aurora to get the next player and who could be then the IGL? Because in the old days, they already tried Imor as an IGL, right? So maybe you use one of the current players you have, like a Zantares. But do you,
I mean,
it's
yeah,
so
I
messy.
have a hard time seeing him being replaced. He looks to me like one of the hardest workers in the entire scene,
I always said that.
in terms of like what he does for a team. So I'd be
Yeah.
very, very surprised if they found even remotely close to the success that he's brought to this team. Even though his stats are poor, and I know people are looking at that, but I think he does
Yeah.
so much more for a team, than people realize.
Well, let's wait and see then. Let's see what can happen in the Aurora camp. But it is rough for them here. From Aurora, we can go to 3D Max, who people are probably thinking like just gonna talk negative. I'll say this right about 3D Max right now. Maka not being IGL is amazing.
Yep,
This is the best Maka we've seen. Highlight package Maka, great moments from him. Sometimes exercises having like super solid games as well.
yep.
Gravity is still as an IGL performing above what you expect from an IGL. But the drop off I've seen is from Body, who at least when he came into 3D Max, if you remember at the very beginning, from the online games to the first PGL event they attended, it was like, this is a 3D Max you can get behind. Now, I'm not just going to single him out because it's Pro League, because Lucky also wasn't great individually, but just I know what Body can deliver and I expecting more. And if you can just unlock a little bit more there, then I can see the potential that you seem to believe in. But
I mean, yeah,
for
we've
now,
talked
I'm
about
not there.
this. And I think I can't remember what episode this was in, but I'm pretty sure we had this exact discussion that if 3D Max is going to be, someone that can, compete with a lot of these teams and
Yep.
make it to the playoffs and make it deeper into the playoff in a run, it all kind of hangs on Body. I think he needs to be that G2 Body of the past,
Yep.
and I still think there's glimpses of him improving his individual level, um, and becoming a little bit more consistent.
Hmm.
And I mean, to some degree, you just have to look at this event as 3D Max and just be positive because they did a great run. They're looking to play better Counter Strike. It looks like teams are having problems with them when they play them. And obviously, if you have a Maka in that kind of form, then you can be a contender. You can beat some of these teams, especially if they have a bad day and 3D Max
Yep.
have a good one. So yeah, I think it's. And I also have to say, I was also very impressed with exercise. He was really, really solid throughout. So yeah, they just need this to continue, but it's looking better.
Definitely looking better. It's a step forward.
Yeah,
That's what you want to keep seeing for them. Another step forward or a step in the right direction, I guess, right? Is Navi
yeah. I mean,
because
I even predicted them to make playoff, and they made playoff.
it happened. It happened. You know, you said
Yeah,
it, and I didn't believe you because obviously I thought I knew they would make playoffs in my delusional mind. But their run was pretty damn good, man. Beating Aurora, struggling against Falcons, which is kind of sad. I always spoke about like Bit playing really well against Munacy. Well, he wasn't ready for the new and improved Munacy or the Munacy that's coming back that we'll get into later. So that didn't work out too well for them. But like, if you think London, they didn't make it to playoffs, they struggled online. Esports World Cup, they lost instantly to 3D Max. Blast Bounty, they lost to Astralis. So to come back to a playoffs of a tier one event, being pro league is still positive. And I will say this: they held strong against Mouse on Ancient and didn't falter. They obviously went all the way to overtime. Um, but the train game, bro, Imma's face was just everything. He dropped a 185 rating on train, having the best game he's had in a long time, and no one else was alive. This
yeah.
was a whole team flop and failure. And I think that's probably what not just hurt him the most, but hurt them the most is that, like, by the way, but I will say this Blade is probably very happy with this performance because it's like still made playoffs, still going somewhere better than he expected. He even said in the HLTV interview that like he would be fine if they didn't go playoffs and they went 2-3, considering the level of teams that are here and like where he's putting them and trying to get ready for the major. But
Yeah.
this was they still had more of a chance against Mouse than what I expected. Um, it's just that train was just it was painful, man. It was
I
very
mean, I
painful.
think it's a great sign that they can be this competitive, because it was looking really rough earlier on. But I still kind of I don't know if I don't want to call him out, but it just feels like Wonderful is not having the impact he needs to have in some of these games.
But don't
Because he
you
had a
think some of
struggling.
that is also down to how an AWPer is used in the Navi Blade
No,
system?
100%. Sometimes
Because
I'm questioning why he even has an AWP in his hands because of the way that they play.
oh,
Because they
dude,
play very, yeah, how to they kind of abuse rotation systems. They want to slow things down. They're very quiet. He doesn't really have that much freedom to kind of go for these peaks, etc. Um, but
I'm
then,
glad you're saying this because you know so much more about CS than I do, and this might shut up some of the wonderful haters because
but
people
then
say like
my
wonderful's a
question
bad
then is,
AWPer.
why the hell does he have an AWP? Because I think,
Yeah, but that's on
s-
Blade, then, isn't it? Like he is an AWPer. This is their system. So I will credit and praise Blade to no end. Yeah. But look at this. How Simple got to dictate rounds and be played around is because he was the best player in the world, the greatest player of all time, right? Blade
yeah,
gave him all that trust. Now within this system, the AWPer is there, but he's not getting to make so many plays. He's not getting to make so many moves. He's not having that freedom you were just talking about. And that's my problem. Imagine what that does to you as Wonderful as a player. Okay, Wonderful doesn't expect Blade to put him in the same position as Simple, I'm sure. But you're not allowing him to even have a chance of going berserk mode, god mode, take over a game because you are put into this box.
yeah. But I mean, you can blame the system a little bit, but sometimes it could also be maybe he doesn't take the initiatives in the right time, where they need to. It could be that they're stopping him to do that. But sometimes I
Mhm.
just feel like he has more impact with the rifle than he has with the AWP. And it also makes them a little bit more fluid in the game.
A
I'm not
lot of
saying
people have
he
said
should
that.
never ever pick up an AWP. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is maybe he shouldn't, invest in it with his own money. Maybe he should pick one up and play, because they're playing so execute based,
Mhm.
to a certain degree on some of these maps, like Inferno. Like very systematic, getting into a piece of location and executing into like a B site. He doesn't get to do anything with his op. It's like if you survive, you have an after plan situation with your op, but you
Mhm.
don't really do anything with it until that happens. And I would much rather, you know, put an AK in his hands, and just pick up an AWP if that happens, because it increases the speed, with aggressiveness, you can clear sites much better. Um, and it also, when you get into this situation where you kind of execute B, you get blocked, and you realize there's many people there, you let Bit kind of lurk out in mid on Inferno, kind of take that space, when you kind of swing back to the other side,
Yeah.
you have so much better trade potential at running as a group with Naked than you will ever have with the AWP in those kind of calls. So yeah, sometimes I do question why he has an AWP in his hands. Maybe it's like
Yeah.
overused. But
But
on like a
that's
map like
obviously
Dust 2, I would like
yeah.
to see him take a lot more initiatives, be in more aggressive spots, because it feels like he's always the last guy on A defending or something, or he has to
Mhm.
kind of rotate to cover long, and yeah, it just
I need
doesn't
to ask
feel like
Blade
it's
this.
fluid.
Next event, this is what I'm gonna ask Blade in an interview because I need to understand if like he spoke about it so many times. We don't have a star. So he's not putting Wonderful in that position as an AWP and being a star. Wonderful's rifle is good, but it's like
Yes.
Wonderful can't keep taking the flack and being hit on by the community and the fans that he's like bad player when he doesn't have the same opportunity or the same freedom or is not being used in the same way.
No, I mean, I agree to that, that he doesn't have as many. He has a lot of like babysitting role, but at the same time, if you're a passive AWPer and you're just
Mhm.
holding stuff, like
But
kind
look at
of
his old games. He's not a
babysitting his
passive AWPer.
rifle, but he's kind of babysitting riflers into position. They slow things down. They're very passive. Why in the hell would I be pushing into a Navi, which I know already from doing the prep, that they
Yeah.
want to slow things down? They're probably going to pretty late. They want to tone down your utility, kind of bait that out, and then they go as a group, very, very slow and methodical. I wouldn't push into them because I would know, or at least the spots that he's holding, I wouldn't push into. Wouldn't give him that opportunity even.
But that's it, right? You're just saying it. You're saying it perfectly. Everyone knows that's what's happening, right? So they're not going to walk into it. But the wonderful I remember from Spirit, from Sprout. I know it's a lesser team, but he was an aggressive warper.
Yeah.
That's what he would do good. So a lot of it is down to not being on him. It's not effectively his fault.
Mika, you can view it in two different, like
Yeah, we have to find
it,
out, right? So that's what I'll
like
have
yeah,
to
you
ask
can
him.
you can make the argument also, like, why do we have him in the team if he doesn't fit the
Oof.
system? But you can make that argument as well. If that's not what they're looking for at as an AWPer, then
Yeah, but what passive AWPer would you get that's better than him? Because
no,
he's still a good AWPer.
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure
Yeah.
about that, but it's obvious that it's kind of in a game like Mouse versus Navi, that this looks very obviously and glaringly that you look at Wonderful in this performance, because you just look at the stats and he has minus 20
Mhm.
in a game that you obviously Train was a massive hit, but you can look at the maps, they were close. Even on the Ancient, he had 10-17. On
Yeah.
Inferno, he had 8-15. You can kind of ignore Train because everyone was shit except Ime there.
Mhm.
Um, but it's not enough, but it's also the maps. Ancient Inferno, not that great Oper maps, uh, like in my opinion.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one, but there is better signs for Navi, and they can definitely compete if they get Wonderful more activated.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. All right. From Navi, we can go to Spirit. Oh, Spirit. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna say
It looks so
losing to
good.
FaZe is bad, but it looked great up until you faced FaZe.
Yeah,
You went 3-0, yeah? And like, look at the teams they beat. Okay, didn't fall to Inner Circle, didn't fall to Hotu, took down G2 as well. Obviously, none of the teams they beat ended up going through the playoffs. Then you play FaZe, who has a standing. You look at that bracket that was ahead of them. It's like this looks pretty damn good for Spirit.
yeah.
And I don't want to hear anyone slandering Donk like because you like he ain't mega carrying this game where everyone else was. Even Shiro couldn't back him up. This was a this was a spirit that then showed the cracks of having Tanier in there, and lots of people already started to say, "Oh yeah, why did they get this Zwei guy?" Like Zwei wasn't terrible across the whole series, you know.
No, but it's almost it's not really. Do you really want to like look at the spirit disappointment, or do you look at like, okay, all of a sudden we have twists from 3 years ago where he was just one of the best riflers in the world, and ever since he came back to this phase squad, he's just back. Like he's
Yeah,
so damn good, and it's like I don't even know, like absolutely insanity what he has done. Just jumping in, straight delivering. Everything's working. I don't know. I think they were probably a little bit shocked at what phase they got to play against as well. Um, to some degree, because I wasn't really ready for it. You were you?
no, no. I
So I mean, you can look at it. I was disappointed in Spirit as well, but at the same time, I don't know. I thought they would be in a final, this Spirit, but it's obvious
yeah.
that they probably need a. Do they need more time? I mean, they. How long have they had
It is
Tanir?
two
This.
players. It is two players. That's way since Cologne, right? That was his first
Yeah,
event. He went on to win it, and then you said Spirit Finals. I still would have Vitality, even in the form we didn't know before coming into this EPL, beating Spirit if Spirit did beat FaZe. I just think that losing to quarters the way they did is sad,
yeah. I mean,
and
they
losing
weren't,
2-0 is more sad. You
but
know,
they got destroyed.
Mirage, yeah, Mirage was a yikes. That was a yikes from me.
That was a yikes.
That was, bro. I don't know what else to say about it because, like, there were
No,
so
but
many moments where it wasn't even just the frustration from Spirit. You know, it wasn't even the usual tilt. It was just like they were. You could see they were disappointed with themselves.
yeah,
But they got plenty of events to come up and be running around. It's no alarm bells. You have Zway, who's only just got there at the beginning of this season, after Clone, right? And then Tanier, who is brand new.
yeah.
But I'm
I mean,
still going to keep coming back to this that, like, if Zway keeps performing not so good, Zontix is ready starting 2026.
I personally think Magis is a better player, but I was really
Wait, wait.
shocked they replaced him
Magic's better player
this
than
way.
Zwei or Zontix? Okay, cool. Because I'm thinking just, I'm imagining Zontix in Magic slash now Zwei's roles, and that would be pretty good,
Yeah, I would
personally.
still prefer Magisk.
Really?
Yeah, Magic's over Sontics. I'm a big fan of Magic's. I think he's like he might not like have the best stats, but the way
Hmm.
he plays Counter Strike, the way he buys times for his teammate, like I thought used to think that he was one of the best B anchors in the entire world on Mirage. I thought he was incredibly annoying to play against
Mm.
because he was always really well positioned. Just to get like a frag or damage and fall off, and it was really hard to kind of trade him. You had to kind of overstep your line, and then you would get punished against rotations. I just felt like he always played really good, mature CS. I always like to say the word mature CS because you're kind of
Yeah.
playing the percentages rather than going for the highlights. And I think he's really, really good at that, and he's incredibly underrated as a player.
Okay. Okay. Let's wait and
My
see,
take.
right? There's still a bit more with it. I'm not ringing any alarm bells for Spirit, especially because considering Tanier just got there, and like if people just look at the event stats, they're going to be like, "Oh, Tanier, Donk, Shiro played really good, right?" But it's just that phase game is the thing we have the problem with.
Yeah.
That's the only part. For Furia, Still a really solid run considering they had to come from stage one, right? And they had that up and down stage one, losing to Hotu and Legacy. We already touched on that in the previous episode. But like even here, they beat 3D Max, they lost to G2, they bounced back, took down Inner Circle on Aurora. Then you faced Vitality. Now they won Overpass, it was their pick. They lost Inferno. The nuke was sad because they went down so far. The T side was non existent. Molodoi, I know, was very unhappy with that. Like he got shreked, man. And this is one of the few games where I saw Molodoi kind of take a knee in the sense that like he was down and out, but he never stood back up, you know? He
Okay.
stayed on that knee and couldn't find a way back into the game, even when they switched to the CT side. And it was bad, man. 3 kills on the T side, 1 kill on the CT side. This is one of the few games where I can say that that rookie in him showed up. You know, like
Yeah.
normally he's not scared, even if it's a stage. Well, there was no crowd, no stage here. It's a learning thing. Like he's going to have to take some of these games. But normally, I've always seen a Molodoi drop down and be able to pick himself back up. That's why I said like he's on his knees and he can get back up. But this was that rare example where he didn't have it in him. He didn't have it in him at all. And
Do you
I'm
think
and
it
this
was like a little bit also because of, you know, vitality,
yeah, I think it's the
like their
individual
approach?
team of vitality, yeah, will also be a problem. I
Yeah.
don't know. Was it the first time they'd faced off against each other? Uh, so before this, the last time they faced off against Vitality was the Shanghai Major before Molodor was there. So this is his first ever go of them, you know? First ever
Yeah.
attempt. So it's been a long time. You've never faced a Vitality. You've never been this, like, you've never clashed, you've never met at the same tournaments, met and had these runs. So yeah, and it's also probably Zai Wu factor as well, you know?
Yeah. I always like I think vitality is always so good at, you know, even when they had that like magical run, they were playing Spirit and playing versus Donk, and I always felt like they were really good at kind of neutralizing the best player on the other team in some sense. Like almost made them look a little bit average. It's hard to do that against Donk, but
Yeah.
they're really good at nading, and you know, I think they're just very well aware of what opportunities you shouldn't give some of their players. And I feel like
Hmm.
that probably played in a part. And when you're playing that for the first time and you don't get the same opportunities as you normally would, they're aware of when you take opportunities and kind of shut them down. And it can be a tough lesson if they kind of study your game and you're playing this, you know, really good team. Um, so I think it's more down to that, you know, vitality being back. I think they're focusing on the right things. You could obviously see this tournament. They looked way better, and all of their players looked better in vitality. Like
Yeah.
Flamesy, Messi was incredibly good,
Well, don't
both
jump
of
the
them.
gun just yet.
Yeah, but
Slow your
I
ass
think
down.
yeah, but I still think these are factors for why Furia looks disappointing in this
Yeah.
series.
All right, so let's get to phase. What do we make of this? Because playoffs was unexpected considering it was Rain coming back in. This was his last hurrah. On the last episode, we talked about all the madness that was between ESL and phases, F ups by this. Carrigan then comes out afterwards and says it was actually Jacob who said, let Twist play so that like you get the more reps of it. Both Rain and Carrigan, even Frozen in interviews, because everyone was asked about this, right? By the way, everyone asking the same questions to these guys, like over and over again, was a little bit but all of them came in with the same thing that like fair play to this very young, inexperienced player to step up and say it's better that Twist play, yeah,
Yeah,
and help out the team in this sense that Rain had to play. So they start off by losing to 3D Max. Obviously, Rain just turned up. This, by the way, this is one fucking amazing thing that Rain was just like. So basically, I got the call from Carrigan. I'd been out drinking with some friends of mine, and then I turned up to ESL Pro League. So I'm pretty sure on the first day he was feeling hella rough because you got to remember this is the core that won the major, right? All of them except Frozen.
yeah,
So like this is a good fun group coming back together. But yeah, what do you expect from Rain, who literally turns up to get wrecked after they obviously forfeited the game? So at that point, they're 0-2. They're one game away from elimination. Yeah. And then you go on this tear, this absolute tear. You basically take down Astralis 2-0, Inner Circle 2-0, 2-1 Aurora, which had always been a pain in FaZe's side. Then you 2-0 Spirit. Like you have the hardest bracket to run, and you 2-0 Spirit. So you make it to the semis, guaranteeing even if you lose the next game, you're playing a third place match. Then even against Vitality, yeah, the Mirage was crazy. Then they like it
I
happens.
mean,
It's
even if you
Vitality.
take away like Gentleman's actually beat the Vitality in the tournament, FaZe looked the
Hmm.
best against Vitality out of all the teams.
Yeah.
So I mean, they had a miraculous kind of tournament in that sense. It's also I'm thinking about this like imagine you're Jacob and you're just looking at this incredible run.
Yeah.
And then the next tournament, like imagine if FaZe were like disappointing in the next tournament. Isn't
Oh,
this like
don't
the
say this.
worst
Don't
set?
do this.
No, but isn't this like the worst scene you could kind of set
This poor kid.
for him?
Yeah, yeah.
Because now it's like, okay, but oh, they were much better with Rain, and you know what I mean?
Hey, Rain wasn't that individually good for the whole
No,
tournament,
but
right? He
but
was
you
below
see
Carrigan, so
where I'm kind of building this
hey,
narrative from.
okay. If I'm Jacob, I just look and say, as long as I have a 1.0 or above rating, all is good. All is
Yeah.
fine. Because I'll say this for the first event with Twist back, we heard he's being more vocal, right? They said he's having more input and actually, do you know one thing I need to talk to Carrigan about this. I remember when Frozen came to the team and we had a conversation about like Frozen being the second man. Maybe he didn't say second voice. I need to go back and watch some old interviews, but he was very much saying like how important Frozen was and like his opinions and stuff was helping him out. And then a wild quote I saw was Twist is the first second caller I've had since Nico. So is there a difference between because like he was saying how much Frozen was helping, and then a direct second caller? Maybe did he never see Frozen as a second caller, and
I
now the
mean,
second caller actually is Twist? Like, help me understand this because I felt like we'd been told that Frozen was more of the second voice, but maybe the second voice is not the same as the second caller.
I think first of all, um, I have coached Frozen way back
Hmm.
in No Chance for a few
Before
months,
he was taken from you again, another player taken from you.
but he is incredibly smart.
Hmm.
Like he was such a joy to have around. Like you never needed to kind of change the way he thought about the game or things he did. He was just so aware of everything, and he
Yeah.
definitely can call and make calls 100%. But I don't think that it's necessarily what he maybe wants to do or is like 100% comfortable doing. But this is way back. Obviously, he's
Okay.
much older now, and he could have that potential um, could could potentially be doing that. But
Hmm.
I think he's more about small adjustments, and he's really vocal about giving information. Counting smokes and making sure the team knows we have an opportunity here. We're not going to get blocked, etc. So he's like good at that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Whilst I think Twist can make more direct calls, like actual in-game leader calls, where he organizes the whole team instead of kind of pointing you towards a direction.
Okay. Because that's what I was thinking. Like the next event I'm working, I will be like talking to Karen and saying, "What's to explain the difference?" Because I need to find this out.
Because I'm just guessing here. I don't know the inner
Yeah,
workings
yeah,
of how Frozen is now compared to then and everything, but I know that he definitely has the potential to even be an in-game leader in the future. He has that in him.
yeah. Hmm.
I think he's great.
I would just say this: the run was incredible.
Yes.
Twist looks great in this team. I need to look at Twist ends with a 1-3-3, Frozen ends with a 1-2-1.
Was he like
Roki
the second best player in the event? Twists?
Twist might have been. Yeah, Twist was second best player in the whole tournament.
Yeah.
The whole tournament. So he's back, baby. In phase, he's comfortable and he's back, and Carragher is putting him to work, right? So this is hugely positive for the future of what phase wants to be. Um, Carrigan, even himself, by the way, played a small bit better. 0.90 rating, I will accept from Carrigan. Like
$100.
this is a good uptrend for him. This is positive if you're a phase fan right now. The only negative is I'm not going to say Brokey dropped off. 1.05 is fine, but I was missing some of the Brokey magic. He had a bit of it against Aurora, but I'm like, I don't want to see Twist come in, be the reason Brokey drops down. I like you need those three. Your Brokey, your Frozen, your Twist to be the one that's going to bring you the trophies. That is a core. That is a great core.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you need them all to kind of hit their shots. But I think also, with Twist coming in, he's obviously going to command a little bit more, be more of a playmaker in the early rounds.
Hmm.
And I do still think, there is a balance thing here where it probably looks good for Brokey because he likes to be in clutches, right?
Yeah.
He likes to be in these situations, where he's the last guy alive and saving his team from a relatively impossible situation. So I think maybe he's not as active early round. Now I actually missed this because this is when I fucked my brain up with drinking too much alcohol um, with my girlfriend's family. So I missed these games, but I will check them out and see if there's any difference with Brokey.
Hmm.
um, and kind of how we approach it. Because I think he was a lot more initiative taking when Twist wasn't there, like even in early rounds.
Okay. Maybe it's
That's
just the
a
way Twist
that's a
wants
guess,
to
by
be
the
in
way.
these rounds. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll say this right. I would have loved to have seen them put up more of a fight against Mouse. Um, Obviously, Mouse is we always say it's a very consistent team, can always be up there.
Yeah,
Mouse end up third place over phase in that third place decider. I wanted that little bit more of this hurrah. And I'm not gonna say I was disappointed. It was just a bit meh. It was a bit meh of the ending of how that all went down, considering also that they took a map from Vitality.
yeah,
But overall, considering everything and all the crazy situation that FaZe was in, this should be seen as a positive, especially with the next string of events they've got for Jacob to get more up to speed and get some more experience at the major.
yeah.
So this is not bad for them. And from FaZe, we go straight to Mouse because Mouse, it's a top three team in the world, and they playing like a top three team in the world. The only teams they lost to this event was Falcons. 2-1 in the group stage, which was for that 3-0 spot, and then 2-0 in the semifinals where they didn't get the final. Like Falcons is a tough team for Mouse.
Yeah.
It is not a team they like to play. It is not a team they have good success against. Um,
I mean, it's pretty even. It's 12 wins for Mouse head to head,
yeah,
11 wins Falcons, 2 overtimes.
but look at the recent. Look at all the recent ones. It's only
The
Dallas.
recent ones, yes.
Yeah. So look at this, right? If we talk from after Lisbon, Melbourne, it was Falcons. Rivals, it was Falcons. Dallas, Mouse won. Then Esports World Cup, it was Falcons. EPL twice, it was Falcons. So in recent form,
Yeah.
Falcons has their number. And Falcons is just a better team against them. And this is a problem for a team that is title contenders, has aspirations, because if you can't take down Falcons and Vitality, you also have a bit of back and forth with Spirit. Sometimes Mouse do win it. I think more often than not. Um, it's going to plague you trying to get to be at a trophy contention part. And this is still where I don't have anything bad to say about Mouse, but they're still not it for me because it's like Xertion can have a pop off map. Even Yimfat had a pop off map. I think it was against FaZe though, so that's kind of fine. Um, Spinks had a good tournament overall, but Torsey is like, I know he does so many other things for the team, but he can have crazy games and then he can have middling games. He's never a problem, but he's also sometimes not going to be the game changer they need.
But they almost always seem to me like obviously they had the run against Astralis where they pretty much lost every single final against them.
Yeah.
Um, But they seem right now to be they just come 3rd to 4th every single tournament. So there
There's the consistency.
there's consistency, but in I don't know if it's should you say positive or negative? I'm not sure. But
It's tough, right?
it's a tough one, and I don't really know where I put Mouse. Because if I'd like, let's say we would predict the outcome of a major right now.
There's too many teams that
How
they will
many?
fail to in playoffs. Too
Yeah,
many
it's like
teams.
I don't see a world where I could predict Mouse as being the winner of the major. Do you
No,
understand what I mean?
they. Do you know what bracket they would have to have? They would have to have a bracket to the final where like they face Mongols, Navi, Aurora type teams, and miss Vitality, Spirit, Falcons.
Yeah, it just feels like it's a hard one to kind of
It's not a team you
grasp.
can see winning a big tournament. That's it right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're not a title. They're a title contender. Just
but they're like
they're not a
third in the
winner.
world. But I would see some of the other teams as more likely. Like I could even say like I almost think Furia is more likely to win the major than Mouse, even though Mouse technically is a better team consistency wise.
Mhm.
But it's just that they're so
Consistency top
consistent.
four.
Yeah, but they're almost too consistent. Like they don't have the right peaks at the time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like actually we're just doing this. We're middling up here every
Yeah.
now and again, just a little drop down, but it's never up here. It's never
No,
that.
exactly. It's
It's never
never
that rise.
they
It's
never
never
have
the.
that insane peak. Um
I feel like this. I'm going to say this now. If Mouse don't get the a good result after the major, and I don't just talk about top four. If they don't at least make grand final, they need to make a change going into the next season. Bloody hell, I don't know what change that would need to be,
this is
but it's
such a
like I remember Cyclone after I think was it what final was it where I did the interview with him? After London, it wasn't even finals in London. Yeah, it was just after London. So let's see, how did they do it? London. They lost to Furia. I said, like, when do you start? And he said, but as of right now, we're not looking at making any changes, right? But he knows that results must start to come. Like, you can't stay in this position. So I think he knows after this major, there has to be something. If they don't
but
do,
that's such a gamble as well. It's such they're in a really weird position by the way.
yeah,
Because they are like top 3 in the world
yeah. I
without
guess it depends on what the organization wants, then, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because the Mal's NXT is not the Mal's NXT of old. LMBT is the coach of that guy, which is obviously very positive for him. But there's no player I'm looking at on that Mal's NXT roster right now where I say, oh, yeah, like definitely take this person to go up, you know?
I didn't even I'll be honest, I haven't even seen these names before.
Okay. So
But
I look at the NXT stuff just because it's always been interesting that they've had a lot of players they've been able to rise up to the main team and also sell to other teams.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm right now, I don't see anyone with potential to take a spot from the main team. So their player would have to come from somewhere outside of that NXT system, which isn't what they've been doing, right? Other than Spinks.
No,
No,
it's a weird
Ambrolan.
position they're
Ambrolan.
in because they're obviously really good.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying, but for some reason I don't go into a tournament and feel like I could ever predict them to be the winner.
No. All right. We'll see what happens for our other tournaments because we already spent nearly an hour and a half on
Yeah,
just EPL, by the way. Let's look at Falcons.
fast one.
This is great. 2-0 Astralis, 2-0 Navi, 2-1 Mouse, 2-1 3D Max, 2-0 again Mouse. It's the final. Now, it is the first final for Kyosuke, however you guys want to say his damn name.
Yep.
But this was really a lot of the Manasi, Kyosuke, Nico show. Yeah. Manasi even grabs himself MVP. We'll come on to that a little bit later. Um, but I'll say Manasi had been missing from a lot of tournaments. People said, right? They were like, oh, he's fallen off. I never said he fell off. I would always say that this is a player with more than enough capability and skill to come back into it. But it's going to be hard where this wasn't even an arena and this was the first final for Kioski and it was tough to watch. I'm just looking at the scoreboard, so you're going to have to show me, but the stats don't look great for him It was only Nico and Monesi there, and they didn't even take a map. This didn't look like this is competitive. It just significantly got worse map by map.
It kind of did, but I will say Inferno. I think Falcons actually looked pretty good
Considering they've
on
been struggling
Inferno.
on it.
I think they had a pretty decent game plan. They were
Mhm,
really trying to kind of hit that B site on Inferno a lot. The unfortunate thing was that Flamesy was an absolute beast. Like he would almost consistently, when they took that kind of car control or top banana control, get the frag, be able to escape. The rotation comes in flashes and it takes the Nadu. He was beasting them. He was absolutely destroying them. And the half
mhm.
still ended 6-6 on Inferno, which is still pretty decent for a T side.
Yep.
Um, I think that if and there was some clutches as well, like 1v2 from Flames early on that CT half, on the A site, and it felt like they were millimeters away from clinching this map, Falcons. So I actually thought they played really, really well on Inferno, but it
Mhm.
was just too much to, go up against Flames. And I'll even check, because I know, like, in the final, Flames, he had 17 entry frags. On Inferno alone, he had 5. He had 5-5, but he had 7 multi-kill rounds and a clutch. 112 ADR, 25-16 obviously in stats, 171 rating on both sides. But on that
Keep
CT side, he had
we
15 kills and 9 deaths.
Yeah, that's crazy. And
He was a beast.
this is huge as well, considering he had a glow up from group stage to playoffs. He had a massive
Yeah,
glow up. But we want to keep it Falcons for now, right? I'm just looking at Falcons because we'll
right.
transition. It's going to smoothly transition into it. I will say I don't think this is problems for Falcons. I don't think this is something where you say, "Oh my god, this is bad." I feel like this is a needed experience for them to go through to continue the growth and development for the team. It's going to suck. You're losing a final 3-0. Um, how much time do we more give Tesses to get better in the new roles and positions he has?
I think it's a tough one. I think when things are going good, he still looks pretty good in these roles.
Yep.
I think it's just when things kind of get bad, that's when he starts to kind of drop really, really hard. But I don't think necessarily none of them really played that badly in these games. I think, obviously some people pointing out like a Nico miss in some sense again on Dust 2, but that map they never really had a chance in anyways. I felt Train didn't really look that competitive either, even if it
I thought
was
it was a
quite.
strange pick from Falcons, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought it would be more towards the end of this map pool. I didn't expect it to be their first pick.
no. But I mean, if we talk about players, I think Monese and Nico looked great. Kioske, he was a little bit didn't feel like he ever got into the moments where he could have impact. I think a
Hmm.
lot of it comes down to vitality though. I think they just looked really, really good. It was hard for him to kind of get that space. Um yeah, I just all around the only player. I mean, Monos and Nico obviously they stood up, but the rest of Falcons weren't really on the server in the same capacity as we've seen them coming into this final.
Yeah.
Um, and I was watching the interview as well with Nico after it. He was
Hmm.
saying, the communication wasn't there today. Like it felt off. They never really got it going during the whole series. So I think that could be a major factor. We have some of these players. You have to give excuses, Kioske though. He's 17 years old. He's going up against, you know, the the best team in the world the last year.
Yep.
Um, and it's a big final for him. and he just yeah, I could just see the pressure kind of mounting where he just tries a bit too hard, and obviously tunnel visions and can't get his communication going, and kind of spirals out of control, especially if people get a little bit tilt. So I think it's a pressure thing from Falcons. But Inferno, they look great, but I wouldn't say they looked very well on Train or Dust 2.
And I'll say this as well, right? That Falcons, obviously, there's a lot of pressure on them in general because obviously you have him, but he's going to have to go through some learning parts as well. You know, he's not going to just straight win everything. He's not maybe
Yeah.
the second donk. He's still an incredible player. He's still brilliant to watch. He still does some absolutely crazy stuff on the server. Um, but I'm looking at his development, and I don't think this is a bad mark on it at all. It's a second place. It's a solid run for the guys. Um, and Vitality is a very tough team. And I think it's just about continuing positive performances. Having Munity back to form is really good. Nico's being stable. One thing I did miss was like I didn't see all the Falcons games, but like a kick sand pop off game, you know? Like sometimes he has these games where he's also just crazy out fragging. Maybe he had one, but he wasn't the reason they were being cost rounds or something, you know?
No, I mean, you will need that if you're going to beat Vitality, especially when they come back into this form. I just think it's really hard to kind of be negative to Falcons. They got into this grand final. They played in a Vitality, which I thought were they were great individually across the board. Like if you look
Did
at
you say
ratings on
Falcons
the
were gonna win, or Vitality were gonna win, by the way, when we did the stage
no, I
2?
said Spirit.
You said Spirit. Who did I
You
say?
said
I think I s
Vitality.
yeah,
Um,
lucked out. Lucked out again.
but to me, you know, the best players in this finals was Flamesy, Messi, and Monesi.
Crazy, isn't it? Consider the names that are all there.
And you know how easy is it gonna be to beat a Vitality when Rops and Saivu are two of your worst players?
Yeah, that's
You know,
every team's worst nightmare.
it's like, and they
Yeah, that's
obviously weren't
tough.
bad. That's not what
No,
I'm
no.
saying.
Exactly, but it's just like it's not even the top heavy players carrying. And look at this run, by the way. Let's transition to Vitality because Vitality lose to Gentlemate's opening game. Then they only drop a map to Furia and FaZe. They 2-0 Game Legion, 2-0 Hotu, 2-0 G2, and then 3-0 Falcons in the final. Yeah. And this is not off the back. Let's just be clear. Zyru put up good numbers, 1.28 rating, but he was not the highest rated player of the tournament. He was not super dominant every single game. Mezzi was the second highest rated player in the whole tournament for Vitality. But what I'm going to give the most credit to is Flamesy, because Flamesy in playoffs was next level compared to Flamesy in group stage.
Yep.
I wish we could see this. Like, you can't see the stats divvied up by before playoffs, but like Messi was group stage king, 1.48 rating against G2 to qualify. Yeah. Where Flamesy was down 0.88. Let's go after that. Their other game was Vitality Hotu. Messi second, 1.27. Rops 1.30. Flamesy still 1.21. But it was playoffs. Flamesy was just a different beast. He was so on it to win. Is that back to back pro leagues now for him? I think so.
Could be, yeah. But I think it's just he was great in the entry department. He was great in clutches. Like he had it all in this playoff run. Because
Yeah, it's back to back.
I think you know, I missed the semifinals against FaZe. Um, but I'm looking at some of the stats and things, and I just think that he's just so relentless in going for those entries. He's being that vocal point for the team to kind of create that space for his teammates and putting up these numbers. Being that entry fragger, I think
Mm,
is incredible. Like
yeah,
especially in the finals, he had 17 entry frags for Vitality on these three maps, which
yeah,
is absolutely insane. And yeah, he's the reason they were so dominant against Falcons, and
yeah.
he was putting up good numbers, as you said, every single top top of the scoreboard for the Furia game,
Yep.
top of the scoreboard not against FaZe, that was Saivu. Um, but he was still he's middle in the pack, and then was he top? Yeah,
He
he
went
was
from
top.
middle to bottom of group stage to 1.60 rating in a final against Falcons and absolutely shredding.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's crazy huge. So let's talk about the MVP now because I saw a lot of people complaining, be it on social media or on forums, that Munsey shouldn't get MVP. There is no way that this is in question. Yeah. Because yes, they lost the final 0-3. Munsey still was the highest rated player of the final four Falcons, 1.29 rating. He was still way above Zyru, who was 1.05. It was only Flamesy ahead of him, 1.60. Yeah. But if you actually look at the whole event stats, Munsey 1.38, Zyru 1.28. That difference in rating is enough to shut up everyone on what this means on who should get MVP. This is the same kind of thing that happens when Simple's won MVPs in the past where he wasn't on the winning team, you know? It's a big enough disparity where you can't argue that someone with a lower rating should have the MVP. Monesi got a deserved MVP, and it definitely looks like he's back to playing to his usual level.
I think that if the case was that, for example, Falcons they lost in the quarterfinals, Monacis' rating is really really high,
Yep.
and Saivu brings them to the final and is lower rated, 100% Saivu should get the MVP. But the
Hmm.
fact that these stats and his performance carried them to a final,
Yep.
made sure they were there, played this same amount of maps as Saivu in. Maybe there's one or two maps in difference, but came the same way or as Vitality, right?
Hmm.
Into that final. I think it's definitely worthy to have an MVP. You can definitely have a discussion about
Yep.
it. Um, but yeah, I think he definitely deserves an MVP. I wouldn't be mad either if Saibu got an MVP. I wouldn't be outraged that Mondesi didn't get it. But I still think that's a pretty big difference, and he was one of the factors why it was even close in the final on especially Inferno Train. He was the one that picked up these frags to yeah. He looked in good form. Like I think we've seen a Mondesi kind of struggling to find impact, missing a lot of easy shots, and he was
Yep.
quick. He was that snappy Mondesi again, lightning fast. So yeah, I think he definitely deserved it.
I'm gonna because this interview only just came out, like while we were doing the podcast. There's a couple of quotes I want to take from it from Munsey's MVP interview on HLTV. So they asked him, touching on your own form here, it's a losing MVP, which I'm sure hurts. Can you tell me about that feeling? He said, it's my first time I got the MVP when we lost the tournament. In the grand final, maybe I can say the whole tournament except the grand final, I played not bad, maybe even good. But in the grand final, I missed a lot of shots in situations where I could have made a difference. Maybe I'm a bit harsh on myself, but I always have high standards for these situations that I can close even myself, where it's like 1v3 or 1v2. My form was good this tournament, not bad, but that's what I've been practicing for, just to be better as a player and as a teammate. And then they said to tell me about practicing for that a little bit. Nico mentioned that for a period, once Kioski came into the team, you felt like you didn't have as much space and couldn't take that initiative as much as you used to. He said that something's changed. You had a conversation about and you've changed. Can you tell me about that approach and how that's worked for you? Quite a long answer, so I'll try and skip through as much as possible. Over time, for me, when there's not a lot of stability and you're changing players, I also changed teams this year. This year was just not stable. I really like when you chase stability in the team and you're getting comfortable with players and you understand players more. I don't know. Something was off for me when I joined Falcons and also when I was in G2, because obviously G2 went through a lot. He said, I talked with Danny, which is Zonic, after Fidge, and I also talked with Kickstand. The way I sometimes do stuff, I want to have bigger voice in mid rounds and also on the T sides because it's going to benefit me more. By the way, we heard voice comms and voice clips from this where
From
Manasi
the
was
ancient,
reading a
right?
situation. Yeah, Manasi was reading situations perfectly and calling for the team's success. So this is great. This is good that Zonic and Kixan have realized this because Manasi spoke up and said what he's wanted because that's the type of player he is. If you've got a prodigy on your team, you know, a generational talent, which is like your Simple, Zyru, Donk, Monasi, Kioski, yeah, you let them be able to do this. So he said, I know a lot of things that I can do with the AWP and can help the team as well. That's what I was doing in G2 in the past. That's what I learned how to play so well. So I'm not always behind in supporting with nades and I go clutch after clutch, you know? I'm
Yep.
not going to always clutch. My teammates can die and I cannot do anything after. So instead of that, I try to always, let's say, go for entries, make initiative rounds where I can get some space with the AWP and being an AWPer that is going and making a difference than staying behind. You know, that's the difference between what Navi's system is to what Monesi wants to do. Supporting my teammates, seeing them dying or they're winning the round, it's good. But when they die, it's uncomfortable feeling. Mostly, I think it's just more freedom and more voice on the team. On T side, on CT side, it was always good. We have a good balance between all players. So this is nice, right? This is positive, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a positive step forward. And this comes back to what we said about Falcons, for example, of this is a step forward again with Kioski, and it's at the right time with other events coming up for him, Chengdu, Hong Kong, and then into the major. So
Yeah.
all in all, EPL for me was a good event to watch. By the way, Talent absolutely nailed it with the skits. I've been laughing my ass off. I haven't watched this Dust 3 one that's out now. It's like June 3 with Dust 3. I saw even
My
Oni's in it, I
girlfriend has been
believe.
incredibly confused at what is going on in the commercial breaks.
Dude, it's fitting, it's perfect, it's so well done, and
Yeah.
like ESL are killing it with that. And shout out to just everyone that takes part in it because I think it's amazing. I actually think it's amazing.
The acting is
Um,
getting better and better as well.
Bro, we might lose some talent to acting. Like some of these
Yeah.
dudes might just jump off to Hollywood. They are nailing it. Henry's one when he was doing the audio thing from Cologne. I was like, okay, Henry, I can see this. You might actually be going. I can see Henry in some very London-based movies, like with all the tats up, with his look and style. Yeah, it's they're actually cooking. I'm a huge fan of it, man. Even sometimes I'm just sat there and I'm like, damn, like we're actually doing this from a CS tournament. This is great.
Yeah.
This is really good.
No, it's great. I love it as well. And actually, before I would just never watch. Sit down. Okay, map is over. I leave or
Yeah.
whatever. But now the skits they're making me stay in the couch and keep watching.
Did you see the Donk Mazzinio Mongols one?
I think I have.
The one where it's like Donk. Let me go YouTube this. uh, be like it's like a rap video. Be like Donk Mongols. Yes, please Google. Here we go. Donk. Be like him, and it's like some music. Let me check Discord. I'm going to send it to you,
All right.
and we're going to watch this together. ESL, I'm stealing your content for the podcast. Don't be angry. It's 1 minute 58. It's me. Hopefully everything's fine. So my editor will add this in. So we'll watch at, wait a sec, click play when I say 3, 2,
Wait,
1.
wait, wait, wait.
Oh, mother.
I had
Ready?
commercial, man. I can't
Ah.
control this.
Get YouTube Premium, you cheap son of a.
No. All right, I'm ready now.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
If you drink vodka, bro, it's another level. Next day, test finish, you don't have anything.
That vodka bit is taken from the Virtus Pro players.
You can drink it, I don't know, 10 hours.
It just goes so hard.
This is great.
And it's just them in a club watching Donk. By the way, this is the best way to use the Mongols players.
Остановите резкие биты, всю хуйню. Все хуйня или заебись?
Chopper the bouncer. Oh no, Vasilio. Look at him go.
Oh, man.
Wait, my G can do anything. He is the best, man. In all the skits Vasilio's been in, he's so good.
No, this is. I mean, it's great.
So good. It's so good. Ooh. This is taking a frag movie to a whole nother level. If my next frag movies don't look like this from Veer or other people, I don't want to watch it. Here we go. By the way, I need to know. I have to. I'm gonna message Donk. Was this actually him breakdancing, or did they get someone else
No,
in?
it doesn't look like it's him, right?
Oh, anything's possible. Because they also had to get someone small like Donk to do this, right? I actually think that's so good. I'm so happy. So on that, we can move away from EPL because we are, of course, massively into the
Overtime,
podcast of this.
as normal.
Let's get into some recent news. Later on in the show, we'll be covering CAC going into Thunder Pick as well. So let's talk about this, right? This is one that's just going to make me very unhappy. Fnatic now is my most hated team outside of Wildcard. You might have a different opinion on this, but ahead of our opening match of the CAC Championship against Pain Gaming next week, Jacasmo joins the roster on loan until the end of the season, stepping in for Cypher. Cypher, by the way, they haven't wrote this, but he won't play the major. They're playing with Jacasmo. Now, Cypher, I believe, will still get his stickers, but Cypher, I tweeted this. Cypher played all these tournaments. So he played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tournaments for Fnatic. He was signed to Fnatic for a 6-month period. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4 lands, 2 of which they won to get points for the major. Now, sometimes he wasn't the highest rated player. He wasn't maybe most amazing to say you want to keep him for the long haul. But he had some pop-off games. He had some bloody amazing moments during Blast London where they almost qualified for the LAN playoffs as well. But I'll just say this. This is disgusting because Jacasmo might be the better player or the player they want for the future, but at least let him play the major he helped you qualify for. And by the way, I'm going to Shanghai and Chengdu before Chengdu. I've got a fan meeting and stuff I'm doing out there. I'll tell you this. I was in the Chinese visa office and just by chance, Cypher was there the same day. So I know he has his Chinese visa. So you even paid and had him go through all this to get the Chinese visa. And then you cut him for Jacasmo. Now, it's great for me personally when I look at this and say, oh, well, it's Jambo, Jacasmo, and Fear back together again for this full lineup. But I'll say this, maybe cutting Crims is where you want to go before someone like Cypher. Maybe it doesn't work out role-wise or whatever they wanted. I've not looked at that. But I'm just saying, like, Cypher deserves to be at that major, and Fnatic, you already have made dumb decision after dumb decision. This is one where you're obviously going to get a lot of hate. And then I think his girlfriend, because me and my wife know his girlfriend.
Yeah, his girlfriend tweeted a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but I like this. Fair play to her, because sometimes some of the girlfriends I don't enjoy when they get too involved. But I know her so. Yeah, my wife and her were talking a lot during even the Paris major, for example.
Yeah.
And she replied, this is what I love. Stepping in, what? Like Kai stepped down. At least have the decency to say you benched him 2 days after he helped you make the major. That is where it's like mega disgusting. Yeah. And then look at this. Fnatic, let's bring Cypher in to help us qualify for a major because we haven't in almost 2 years. They were in Shanghai, but they didn't go far, right? Did they qualify from the RMR? I can't remember. Probably not. Bring Cypher in and he does it in 3 months. Go check for me quickly about Shanghai. And then Fnatic, let's now replace Cypher before the major and give him no reason why, because that makes sense. Fucking joke. I agree. I completely agree. This isn't even like a emotional thing. Yeah, they were in Shanghai. It's someone else, a fan confirmed it afterwards. So they did make it to Shanghai, but they came 15th to 16th. I just think like do it after the major, man. If you're a player now and Fnatic come to you who have been like a trash org for quite some time, yeah. Even if you think this is the right decision for the future or whatever it is, and maybe it's better because it's for Fear and for Jambo, it's a player they know and more comfortable with. Unless Cypher has like not turned up to practice, or he's been a terrible teammate, or he's super. By the way, from all the teams and players that I've spoke to that have worked with Cypher, I have never heard this kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, if there's some crazy reason, then sure. But from what I know about Cypher from other players, is he's not a bad teammate. He's not difficult to work with. He'll do what you need him to do. Yeah, he'll even be that person who goes in and just takes the knock on the chin the whole time. So I just hate this from a fanatic point of view. That because if you're another player in a similar situation, unless you're absolutely desperate, you wouldn't want to join Fnatic. You're
No,
not
I
going
mean
for this organization.
it's up there with the wild card kind of. It's even more disgusting in some sense because obviously the thing that doesn't really make sense is I'm not even sure this is a better plan long term for bringing a new player in this close to the major, um, and just having him have one trial tournament and then let's see, how things go. I think it's a weird move.
Yep.
I think you're absolutely right. If you qualify for a major, I think it's kind of disappointing that Norg just drops you because I'm not even sure what the game plan is. Because Cypher's come into an incredibly difficult situation for Fnatic,
Yeah.
um, where they lost Mattis obviously to G2. He's
Yep.
managed throughout, like, beating all the odds, qualifying for this major, something that didn't even look remotely realistic.
Not even humanly
Um,
possible, and they
no,
still
it,
did
it
it.
looked like they were gone and out. Like
Yep.
there's almost no chance. And he's done well. He's done well. I mean, I've watched a couple of games of theirs as well. He's definitely not like bringing the team down or anything. In a matter of fact, some of the games he's actually pulling them out of trouble
Hmm.
in some regards. So I think it's a really weird move.
Do you want some more info? I'm just looking at now. So I
Yeah,
put Chakasma, who's 18, Cypher 22, right? So age for me at this point doesn't really matter too much in this. Past 3 months for Cypher, 94 maps. Past 3 months for Jacasmo, 61 maps. Both with a 1.0 rating. I'm looking at HLTV, right?
yeah.
Firepower for Jacasmo, 48. Cypher, 56. Entrying, 44 for Jacasmo, 79 for Cypher. And like I told you, he'll do this with no fear. He'll go in and die. I spoke to him back at the Blast Open London on interview. Yeah, so this is public information about him like having to go in and get smacked all the time. And he says, sometimes it doesn't really like fit exactly how I'd want to do things, but my team's asking me to do it. I just do it. He doesn't care
Yeah.
about the stats. He's doing it's exactly what you want from the entry. So Jacasmo is not an entry in comparison. Trading, 43 to Jacasmo, 45 for Cypher. Opening, 14 for Jacasmo. He's not an opener. 51 for Cypher. Clutching, obviously a lot higher for Jacasmo. He's a lot longer, 54. So he's only winning. So neither of them are snipers, right? So clutching, 54 for Jacasmo, a utility 82. Clutching, 32 for Cypher, and 47 for utility. 47, by the way, for someone who's an entry is not bad. But I mean,
But they all
this,
came from the same team, right? Passions UA. Did they play
yes,
together
yeah. All played
in
together for
that
that
team?
Shanghai run, everything, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
it's
it's
but
slowly
fit,
turning into old Passions UA essentially.
which I'm not against, right? But you don't do this in this way.
No, I agree
This
on
isn't
that. I think
fine. This
it's.
isn't normal.
I mean, someone even posted like on Reddit. There was like a really sad timeline of like Cypher's tweets. Did you see that picture? Where it was like,
No.
"Oh, finally helped Fnatic, qualify
Oh, let
for
me
the
go look.
major. I'm super excited." Blah blah, blah. And then just sad face. Um,
Yeah, look, because this is a guy who's got a quarterfinalist medal from the Paris Major.
yeah,
Can play on stages, can do really well. And look at this. He had a tweet he did an interview with Dust 2 after winning. After qualifying for the major, I thought I was fucking doomed, having failed RMRs and everything. But obviously, he's so happy because he's got it. And then he even tweets, "Please, someone pick him up. He's so fucking good. My go about Jacasmo." Yeah,
yes,
and
this
then you
was a.
get
Oh my god! And then you get replaced by the dude you're
yeah.
hyping up. Yeah,
And look at that. Yeah, he even says, "Major, here I come. Holy fuck, I love my team."
yeah.
And
It's
now it's just
just
like some
the
four
saddest
sad
of
faces. Yeah.
timelines in those few days. Yeah, it's a rough one. I mean, what can you say? I you're not doing yourself any services as an organization to do this. I think everyone can kind of have empathy with Cypher's situation, and like no one can really argue that he doesn't deserve to be at the major,
Yeah,
and give it a go.
yeah.
And I think that's
I'm disgusted by it, man. I hate
yeah,
this so much.
very egotistical from Fnatic's point of view. Even if they wanted to replace him, at least let them have a go at it. Even if they do have problems, you know, yeah, it's a weird one. I
Yeah.
don't agree with it. I think it's really really bad taste.
And by the way, we'll go from one bit of craziness to another because we'll move from Fnatic to Big. So
Yep.
Big add Grix and they benched Hype. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I'm not gonna like. There was moments at the beginning where Hyped was really good. I loved what I was seeing from Hyped. He was a very different Orpa to Sirison, but he had been struggling in more recent times, even against lower opposition. So I'm not surprised that he was removed from this team. So they signed Grix from Belarusia. Obviously, he's had that moments on Heroic. He was not maybe used in the right way in Heroic. Ted, obviously very capable analyst. We worked with him back at StarLadder. He's been very positive about Grix. He did an interview with him on his YouTube and stuff. Big pick him up, and guess what? Big have switched to English again. I'll just say this: Big have switched to English more times than I've had tea, and I'm British. I don't know. I was trying to say like, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that whole sentence, but they switched to English so much. They
Yep.
have gone back and forth on this for so long. So if you're big and you're listening to this right now, stay on English. Don't ever swap back. This is so stupid because the German fans have already given up on you when I've spoke to them at Cologne. Um, they, they don't believe so much. There's people still walking around with the big jerseys, but there's not much hope in it. And the German scene is plagued a bit because of like the players coming through, the rules in the country on the game as well, you know, like the age side of things. But guess what, Devilwalk? This just happened while we were doing the show.
Yep.
Tabson is no longer IGL. Freeze from the academy team is coming in. He's going to be IGL. He's 27 years old, by the way, and was on an academy team. Tabson's still going to play on the team, so he's not retiring. They're removing Crimbo. And it says, after 1,319 days, a joint decision made between Crimbo and us, we decided to move him out of the active roster. He's been an integral part of our history books. All right. Freeze will take place and act as a new IGL of the team as Tabson changes roles within the team after a mutual decision. I didn't expect
Yeah.
this, but at least Crimbo now can go to a higher up team. I just hope his stocks have not fallen so low that it's like people aren't interested in. But Crimbo was a clutch
His
factor.
stocks has 100% fallen.
No,
Like,
because he was so up
I
before
mean,
he signed that long contract
there
with
was
them.
rumors of him joining, a Vitality or turning down a
Yeah.
Vitality, and all of that stuff. He does not have that, the stocks for that anymore.
Could he join a top
Um,
20 team though?
I think he 100% can join a top 20 team.
It's
I don't
just a
think
lot of
there's
years have
any.
gone by. I met him when he was like 17 back at We Play Academy League.
Yeah, but I think he's obviously a good player. He has a lot of clutch potential. He's great at
Super
that.
smart.
This just looks like me like a move where the team is so frustrated in so many different ways with everything they've gone through in the past like 1.5 years, or if it's even longer. I can't even remember when I last saw them and thought they were like a good team. Uh,
Yep.
and it's just like they need a break from each other. It doesn't matter. It's almost like they've gone through every single alternative, and there's
Hmm.
no hope left in their soul for the project to kind of stabilize itself. But it's also
Yeah.
weird because Big, what have they done the last year? I don't know how many coaches have they had, how many ups and downs
Let's
in
look at Wikipedia.
promotions from process hype to um there's just so
Okay.
much has
You
gone
want
on.
just 2025?
Yeah.
They part ways with Sal. Sal was the assistant coach and analyst. Yeah. They acquire QB, promote Hype from Academy. They sign Zen as assistant coach. They release Sirison. They bench Kakafu. Zen takes over as coach. He's still the coach now, so that was in March. Big part ways with Kakafu. Big demote process to the Academy team. Big adds Scrunk on a trial basis. Big demote QB to the academy team while promoting process again, and freeze to the main team.
But they legit, I mean, they legit have, like, in 2025, and like they almost have a history in terms of changing and adding new players, of
By the
like an
way,
entire organization's lineup to some
I've gone
degree.
through their timeline. Yeah. 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23, there was a lot of changes, but 25 beats everything else. Even 2023. There's more changes in 2025. And what I don't understand is big demote QB to the academy team while promoting process and freeze to the main team. The latter as an assistant coach. So Freeze was an assistant coach. Additionally, they bench Scrunk while Zen takes over as head coach. Big transfer God B to academy team. Big part ways with Scrunk. Big bench hyped acquire Grix. Big
This is
bench Crimbo and now
also,
Freeze is to apply. This is in a month.
it's absolute insanity. But I mean, it just feels, I mean, first of all, it feels stressed. Like all the moves feels like we have to do something now, otherwise the team is gonna die or something.
I'll say
Um,
this. Obviously, they don't have the partner leagues propping them up anymore, and the drop off has been huge. Like, if you go to big on HLTV, right, and look at the ratings, if we go back to um, mm, from 2024 onwards, it was like a drop down, a little bit up, a little bit up, and then they've just consistently dropped all the way down, and they are currently 38th in the world. Like, it's
yeah.
just been a constant. I'd say since 2024, there's been huge problems. And like now they've gone to English and everything's all gone crazy. Now
I mean, to
JDC, by
some
the
degree, I
way,
think it's the right choice. Go international. You'll have way more opportunities to kind of find the
we've
players
said this
that you
before.
want and need.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know where to put them. I they need to. I don't even know how to talk about big. Honestly, it's such a mess of a team right now, with
Yep.
all the moves and changes they've made. Like bringing coaches, they're kicked after a month.
Yep.
Like, what is going on? So I'm not even sure this, in that sense, will have a positive impact for them, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously their scouting has been atrocious throughout the last 1.5 years.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I I don't have any hope, but maybe I'm just kind of sick
We'll
of
keep an eye
hearing
on
of
it.
these changes.
Yeah. From team news, we can go to tournament organizer news. PGL August 2026 event cancelled after EWC announcement. Now there does seem to be a lot of misconceptions from the community. Obviously,
Yeah.
I work for both TOs, right? I work for PGL more than I work for ESL. I work EWC as well. But this is to be cleared up. People keep saying like ESL, like are the ones pushing this. Now, obviously, the Krakow thing that happened, you can say yes, that was obviously something went on there. Yeah, but this whole EWC having a same problem, EWC just needs 10 months, right? Since for VRS to tell Valve what the dates are. So EWC, ESL, this is from Messioso, obviously god of VRS, we will say, like
Yeah.
especially on team side. He said ESL, EWC literally did nothing wrong. They announced their event dates 10 months ago within the deadline set by Valve and haven't changed them. But did they announce the expansion of 32 teams as well? This basically kills any chance of parallel events at the same date. Also, with club partner program, not CS2 clubs are forced to participate or else risk losing partnership. Sure, within the deadline of their announcement period before they had 0 teams. So yeah, there you go. You know, they did it all correctly. It sucks for PGL for sure, right? And how many good events we get from PGL, like Astana, Cluj, the Bucharest ones. Obviously, Bucharest ones not being in an arena. But I'm it would have been an overlap, but having 32 teams, obviously
Makes it
if
hard
I'm
to.
PGL, I'm also going to just cancel that event because what are you going to do? Take teams underneath the top 32 for their normal $1.25 million event? That investment doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does not. It's just not good business. Um, So it's a bad situation, but it's all the dates seem to be out there in advance, you know.
Yeah, I
Because what
mean,
what did
as long as we
PGL?
follow the guidelines set by Valve, one could question maybe how the guidelines should be and etc. But that's on Valve. It's not really on EWC if they follow all the rules.
But it's just sad, right? Because PGL put we will not be running our August 6th to 16th, 2026 Counter Strike 2 event. We didn't know which location that would be in, by the way. The decision follows another tournament being announced at a later date that overlaps with ours. So it is true that PGL published it way before. Yeah. PGL put all their events for the public and for everyone way in advance. 2024, they published that.
Yeah,
So it is a they EWC and ESL are within the day range, like they did the 10-month thing, but they didn't give it as much transparency. So, but I will also say this for EWC, it's a 7 or 8 week event, right? If other games as well. And there's so much other stuff going on in Riyadh at the same time, that their dates are never going to change because it's involved in a huge thing, right? And that's just the way they do it.
yeah,
They could maybe mix things up or change it, but then they'd have to obviously not clash with the major and other things. So it's tough. And I do want to see multiple tier one events run at the same time to make teams choose. I think that's a good thing for Counter Strike because it gives some of the lower down teams a chance to come in. Then maybe some of the top teams do go, as long as not all the best teams are going to the same events. So if you had like some of the top 10 teams go this one, some of the top teams, that's an ideal situation. But there's a lot more in it than what we can go through or go into any of it.
yeah.
A positive though, I don't know, maybe this is the wrong word to say a positive, but Sky Esports
Huh?
cancels their tier one events for 25 and 26. Now, if you remember Sky Esports, they had that
Sounds
massive.
super positive, Banks.
No, but I mean, it's freeing up more calendar space. It's better for the situation that I was just talking about with the event dates. They said after careful consideration, we have made the decision to cancel the Sky Sports Masters 2025 and our planned tier one events for 2026. Going forward, our focus will shift towards strengthening tier two and grassroots ecosystems. This is obviously based in India, by the way, creating more accessible opportunities for emerging teams and establishing more sustainable pathways to the tier one ecosystem. Obviously, these smaller lands are incredibly important. I
Yeah,
assume
and
their
they're
events
just
when they say,
growing in importance.
yeah,
And I
what we heard
think
from
this
Mischief.
is it's good that we have this because I think we're slowly but surely by making the importance of tier two events. Uh, the online scene is going to kind of drop off a little bit, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
great. And we'll have more lands. We'll have better kind of knowledge. It will eliminate some of this, cheating and that kind of stuff, match fixing, whatever. Recently had a scandal in Sweden about. But I think it's good, and I think it's a good decision from them as well to kind of focus on that.
Definitely. The only thing they need to do is improve their conditions because obviously there was a lot of problems at the last Sky Sports one. So hopefully
Yeah.
they learn from that. But that's just another thing we'll have to look at. Devil, start talking about CAC. I'll be back in a sec. You just
Start
continue
talking
for me.
about
Yeah,
it.
just
I mean,
start talking
this
about
is
CAC.
something that
Anything you know about it.
you have been looking at flight times and stuff for obviously the teams that come out of EPL, going straight into a CS Asia, which would be like FaZe, for example. Oh my god.
Hello.
Uh, FaZe, for example. I can't look at you now.
I got my
Um,
CAC hat on.
but we checked this before
I'm trying to make sure I can hear you.
the show actually started about
Yeah.
FaZe's flight times and stuff because it's gonna be a little bit rough. They're gonna make it, but it's gonna be a rough
Yeah, wait a
rough
sec. I had
ride.
it open. Where have I put it? They will be arriving at 1:50 Monday. So they left EPL after their third place match today. Yeah. Um, and Carrigan tweeted at like 4:45 that it's 3 hours till their flight. So we worked out that it would be on like the 7:15 from Stockholm, Arlanda. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure I can hear everything. um, so they will arrive at 1:50 Monday. It's a long travel day for them. Hopefully they got some business class flights for it. Jacob will be back in action. I will say that they are the massive favorites for this tournament. The problem is this tournament is a VRS, but it's not a tier one VRS now.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, this is another thing, right? For all the English talent, they will be out in Romania. Um, there was no so from Perfect World who hired us last time, like who hired us for the major. They obviously had me out as the interviewer, stage host, and stuff like that. It was great, but because of the tournament having less top teams, when I was speaking to them, they said they're going to do everything with just Chinese and someone who can speak English. So it's going to be probably, I guess, like Dove, who did a great job I was working with last time. So they will just cover all of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it's still $1 million tournament, by the way. So they can still attract some teams, but it's a much more different tournament than what was expected. It was originally going to be like a full tier one tournament. And now if I look at it, where is it?
I mean, you have 3D Max, you have
It's an A
Liquid, you
tier
have
now,
Pain, you have Face, Gamer
tier
Legion,
two.
Tyloo. Yeah, it's essentially, everything from rank 10 to rank 50
Yeah, it's a Valve
in
tier
this
two
group.
tournament, just to
Yeah.
be clear. So I think that's the same as Star Series, right?
Yeah. I would say it's pretty much equal in that sense.
Maybe it wasn't. What was Star Series? Star Series still counted as tier one.
Well, either
Qualifier.
way,
I'm just checking.
just
Yeah, Star
checking.
Ladder was still tier one in Valve, but A tier on Liquipedia. That was the confusion. That's why it was worth so many points. So CAC is tier two. It's interesting because Liquipedia says $400,000 prize pool, but when we look at it,
There's a
obviously
million here.
it's $1 million on HLTV, which is correct because obviously it's club share as well. And there's a big club share
Ah,
to the team.
yes.
So what they're doing is 150,000 for first place, 250,000 for the club. So there's a lot more club share money than prize money, which is obviously good for a lot of these organizations. Um, I'll say this for the teams. Obviously, it's a good bit of a LAN experience in there. It's some extra smaller VRS points, but good because of the prize money so high. This event's gone through a lot of up and down drama compared to where it was first announced. It has wildcard invite from the old CAC, which was in 2023 that I was at, that phase one. Yeah. I already seen some of the merch and the cool stuff that they released and they launched that the players got given. So it's a nice moment for a lot of these teams. But like the first Valve ranking team is 3D Max 11th, yeah?
Yep.
And then it goes all the way down to 39th, the Huns, who came through the Asia Close qualifier. So there is 4 qualifying teams, sorry, Europe, Americas, Europe Open, and Asia. So there's 2 European. Oh no, how many European teams qualified?
4.
4 qualified. Okay, 4 European teams, 1 Asian team, and 1 Americas team. The rest of VRS, except for FaZe, who was a wild card invite for CSC 2023. It's very confusing, all of this. There's gonna be a lot of matches though. A lot of games coming in there. I think there's a clear favorite in FaZe, depending on how they do with Jacob. Would you agree?
I mean, if they play as well, I would still put like you could argue that 3D Max has you know
Okay.
is up there in terms of favorites in a weird way, just because of
hmm
how well they played at EPL. But yeah, I think FaZe is the favorite. I'd put 3D Max up there as well for me.
I want Tyloo to do well here. I expect them to do well. Um, Heroic is adding in Hades. Hades is the ultimate stand-in, by the way. I already stood in for G2, now standing in for Heroic. This is because Alkaren from Kazakhstan, he couldn't get visa for China. He wasn't able to do it in time, which obviously sucks. And then
Yeah.
for Bait, which is very weird, Krasnow. Krasnow, because
Instead of Kensisor.
Kenzizor, obviously hugely impressive player for the team.
Yeah.
He's also due to visa issues. He couldn't get a visa for China, which I don't understand, by the way, because as far as I'm aware, he might live in Poland, like where a lot of the other players live. I forget. But he's actually in a very good spot in terms of Poland's really good to do all these visas and things. There's a lot of esports people doing it. There's a lot of people that can help with this stuff. And the Chinese visa and the documents that Perfect World give you is amazing. Like they even helped get visa for me like super quick. I had like a 2-year visa last time. So they know the documents, they know the way to do it. So this is a rough one for Bait. Um Kind of strange. I don't know. Krasnow doesn't speak Ukrainian unless I maybe understand some of it. Maybe there's some. My wife can understand a bit of Polish, but she can't speak Polish. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work. But
Yeah.
it's kind of a mess
Well,
for these teams.
it is a mess, and I think it's a massive blow for Bait. Not that
Yeah.
Krasnodar is like, a much worse player or anything like that. I think it's just Kansas, to me, looked like one of the more important players, and
Especially emotional as well.
yeah, it has that X factor, can kind of win rounds on its own.
Yep.
So I think it's a huge blow for them. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
Now, also a few interesting teams here, right? So we know the top lot: 3D Max, Liquid, Pain, FaZe, Gamer Legion, Tyloo, Virtus.pro, Bait. Heroic, obviously, a little bit less interesting right now. Legacy, a chance to do some well here. Fnatic, well, I don't want them to do
You're
anything
cheering
good
for
here.
Fnatic, obviously.
Yeah, definitely not. Like, get for. It's not the players' fault, maybe, as far as I can understand from what I heard. It's the management thing, but still,
I mean, the
there's
player's
boo to
always going to
them.
take the brunt of that decline in support.
Yeah,
No matter how you twist and turn things, it's unfortunate for them, but
it's just rough.
it's
It's just
it's
very
hard
rough.
to cheer for them when stuff like that happens.
Linvision back in there after they got handed the ban from ESL for attending the next events because they messed up their visas for Europe. MIBR with both Kickert and Klim in there. Fluxo, Art back in action. They're the replacement team. FUT, which is interesting because it's the old Navi Junior, plus obviously Launks now as Makazi got moved up. And then the Huns, which obviously is like maybe the second best Mongolian team, depending on how you look at it.
That's
So should we
where
do?
is it Mausinho's brother in Huns?
Yes, Mr.
Okay,
Bartak.
yeah.
Mr. Bartak, who
So you
got
want to do
replaced by his brother but still
predictions?
playing. Yeah, let's do our predictions for the matches. So I'm just going to click matches. We'll go through the opening ones. Jesus
Let
Christ, this
me
starts
just.
on Tuesday, the 14th at 6 a.m. This is early.
Well, I will not be up watching at that time.
No,
I'll
me
be
neither. Funny
checking
enough.
the results once I wake up.
Yep, we'll see. We might. I might actually 9 in the morning my time, so it's 5 in the morning. Sorry, 6 in the morning my time, 5 in the morning your time. Last game's 9 in the morning. Obviously, it's a lot of best of ones, by the way.
Yeah.
Not a fan of the best of ones. Definitely should have done best of threes, but I'm guessing they had time constraints.
All
So,
right.
first match, 3D Max versus the Huns.
3D Max.
3D Max, yes. Virtus Pro versus Legacy.
I say Legacy.
Legacy. Yep.
We've stopped believing in VP.
Completely. You can't, man. By the way, there is an interesting thing though for VP. This VP won't have Icy. They said, obviously, depends how much you believe VP at this point, that
Yeah.
Icy will be back, but he couldn't attend for this event. What was the reason they said? They said this is what's the organization shared that Icy has not been benched and remains part of the main roster, but they said to trial him, which sounds like Icy could be on the cutting block.
That's a
But
weird one.
also, small positive is that at least VP are again using an academy player for once. So that could be 2 academy players, as Toro is still there as well. So let's see what Perfecto can do with all of this. Maybe Perfecto just wanted a different change of AWP or a stylist of what he wanted, what he thought with it all.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you doing that by yourself, by the way?
no, I just did this.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy.
Well, you thought it was like electronic control, just
Yeah, I thought it was just
randomly.
like doing it on a random pattern sometimes. All right,
It's
let's
too
move
much fun.
on.
Yep. So I think Legacy, you think Legacy as well. Gamer Legion Liquid.
This one is a tough one, but I will
Oh,
say Gamer Legion. I think they might be able to clinch this one. It's obviously this is their debut for Elise, right? Or
no, they played that Birch Cup thing, right? And they came third. No, they didn't come third. They came fourth.
okay.
No,
Well,
they
I
came
haven't
third. They
seen
came
him.
third. I told a lie. They came third. At least played and they came third at Birch Cup. But obviously there was very bad teams there in general.
All right,
So
but
third
I will
place,
pick Gamer Legion.
first event. You'll pick Gamer Legion. Oof. Oof. I kind of want to pick Liquid,
All right,
I kind of want to. I can't tell you why. I just have a feeling.
that's fair. That's fair.
I just have the feeling. Like I actually think Hypex will be a better AWPer than Ultimate.
Yeah.
but I feel like Elige can make a difference and fix a lot of things in this team, and they've had a bit more time. They didn't play Pro League, didn't do anything like that, right? They've just been cooking the whole time. And I saw from Flashy, the coach, right? He came out to China like a few days ago, so they're well ready. They came out early, and he flew
Okay.
business. Shout out Liquid
Ooh.
one time, flying business, living the dream. Lin Vision versus MIBR. Lin Vision,
I think Lim Vision as well.
my G.
Purely because of vibes.
I just think like it's great that MIBR wanted to take the
Fury
Furia
about.
route, but in a cheap way, and they went for Kicker and Klim. But like, obviously, Klim will go out as the best ever PR statement for trying to make some dodgy remarks about things he shouldn't do, especially when in Brazilian team. But Lim Vision, home soil, let's go, give him the advantage. Then we got Tyloo Fluxo, Tyloo
Tyloo.
baby, yep. Pain Fnatic. Pain, I hope, will absolutely dumpster Fnatic in every way so that Cypher
I'll
gets to
pick
play the major.
Fnatic.
What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this?
It doesn't mean I'm cheering for them. I'm just saying who I think will win.
Remember, these are all best of ones as well, right? We have to be careful of
Yeah.
that. Heroic Bait, both with standings having to face each other in the opening game.
Oh, I think.
That's
Oh,
hard. I'm going to go with Bait, but that's hard. That's a real close call. This is world ranking 19th and 20th.
I think I'll also go bait.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I
last game.
have
Oh,
no
go on.
argument
Sorry.
for it.
Go on.
No, I have zero argument for it.
Oh,
It's
okay. No.
more of a feeling.
Just a feeling. All right. And then we've got FaZe versus FUT. I hate that team name, by the way. I don't understand. What is FUT? What does FUT mean? It
I
sounds like
have
I'm
no idea.
swearing. I must be able to find this out. FUT Esports.
But
Ah,
I
it's
think we're
formerly known as
both.
Footballist. It's a Turkish organization. Okay.
I would pick face.
FaZe, yeah. Definitely FaZe. Now, because obviously this event will be going on, we won't. It's a single elimination bracket for the players. It has a third place decider. First place in each group goes straight to the semis on Saturday. Then there's the quarterfinals games. I don't like this. I think everyone should start in the quarters, but again, it's just a very strange format. And then grand final is a best of 5, which is a positive. So
Who wins the
playoff
event?
teams. No, playoff teams, man.
Playoff
1,
teams.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams you got to pick.
6 teams. So
I'll
3
start.
from each group.
Yep. FaZe,
Yeah.
Pain, Tyloo from Group B. From Group A, Liquid, 3D Max, Lin Vision. Double
Okay.
Chinese
I was
in
barely
there.
listening to you, but I will take group B first.
Thanks, mate. I'm glad you got
No, no worries.
listened to
I'm
me.
honestly, I'm really tired. So me looking at the page and listening to you is just no, I can't. So I was thinking FaZe, Fnatic, and Tyloo, just because I have to go that route now.
I
I've
wasn't
committed.
listening to you. I don't know what you said. I don't care.
I don't care about what you're saying.
All right, and winner for the tournament.
I didn't even go Group A yet.
Oh, okay. See, I wasn't listening to you. I was just angrily looking at the
See,
screen.
yeah. See, we're both not
Punishment.
listening to each other.
Yeah, but I was doing it out of spite.
Ah, true. I was just doing it as a reflex.
Terrible person.
To group A is tough, man.
It is.
I think I will pick 3D Max, Gamer Legion, and Liquid. Even though they're playing each other, I will still, I believe.
Okay. Okay. Didn't like believe in Lim Vision. Let's see how it goes. All right. From there, who do you think is going to win the whole tournament?
I think FaZe is going to win.
Cool.
But I think the strongest opponent they have is 3D Max.
I agree completely. I think FaZe will win as well, but I would love to see FaZe versus Tyloo grand final in China.
All right.
Because it's not as many big teams here. Maybe something could go wrong for like it looks like it should be a 3D Max versus FaZe final, right? That's on paper what it should be. But I would love to see the like magical storyline happen.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool for me. All right. Then we still got one more tournament to do that starts a day after. Do you know what's crazy? Because a lot of people have been asking me, like, oh, you've not been at so many tournaments recently. I was invited to Thunderpick. I wanted to go to Thunderpick, but my health has been really bad this year. I've already had 2 operations. I have one more operation to do, and I need to make sure I'm ready for obviously other events and the major. I'll just say this is a public service announcement. Don't worry, not retiring, not going anywhere. Just when you get older, and even before, always look after your health. There's so many things I have dodged on my health because I'm like, I'll go to this event, I'll do this, and so many events. Eventually, it catches up on you. So I've even
Yeah.
posted on my Instagram story like the scans and stuff. One more operation to go, and fingers crossed that is the end of that, and I will have a positive rest onwards where I'm just looking after myself better and things are going well. I bloody well hope so.
I hope
So,
that as well.
oh, thank you, Devil. You're being nice.
Yeah.
So, Thunder Pick, 8-team tournament. Yeah. A little bit
Yes.
different here. Still $850,000 prize pool taking place in Malta. Only teams going straight through to the semi-finals. Does have a third place decider, has a grand final as well. Teams that are there, though, it's kind of stacked. It's like
It
a
is.
improved version of Star Ladder. Mongols, Furia, Aurora, Navi, OG, Imperial, 9Z, Venom. So 4 from the closed qualifier, OG, Imperial,
This one
9Z, and
is
Venom.
incredibly interesting. I mean, the Mongols, Furia, Aurora, Navi kind of mix.
Yeah,
It's gonna
it
be a
gets
tough one.
wild. It gets real wild.
So are we going through the opening matchups as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we obviously have Furia versus OG. I will pick
Fury versus
Furia.
OG. I'll take Fury as well.
Mongols 9Z.
Mongols,
Mongols. Navi Imperial.
Navi,
Navi. Aurora Venom.
Aurora. But do you know what's
Aurora.
crazy here? Like, there's no real craziness of this. It's all best of threes. There
But
might be an upset, something could
the
happen, but
interesting
it's
part
a
of
big
it is the
difference.
top four. I
Yeah.
think it's teams that all have, in their own regards, had like ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
and quite recently. I think Furia maybe the least ups and downs in comparison, in some way.
Yep.
So I think it's just a really interesting kind of event because playoff teams. There was 3 of them, right? Or what? 4.
4 playoff teams.
4 playoff teams.
The thing is, I feel like one. There could be like one. It should be the 4 best teams, right? Really making it because there's such a huge difference. But
Yeah,
if there is going to be any team that makes a crazy wild run, it could be OG.
I
They
agree,
could make it through. But obviously, we
but
said this
they're
last
in
time.
the
You
group with
sold me on it.
Mongols and Furia.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Could Navi in the winners match take down Aurora and then
I
Imperial
think
beat Aurora somewhere?
yes, that's also possible. I think Navi, for me, Navi is the clearest of the winners. I think they will win Group B. I
In
actually
that group
like,
B, yeah.
yeah,
I've in that group B, I agree. So they would go through to well, it's just semis, right? But
yeah,
then group A winner is hard because you don't know
yes.
what form Mongols is going to come in. Furia on paper might look better at times. Um, Obviously, Furia beat Mongols in that grand final as well.
And OG is a tough tier 2 team to go up
Yeah.
against. They play some good CS. And if Mongols and Furia are having an off day and OG has a good day, they could definitely even win this group. Um, I think it's gonna be tough. I still, oh, it's a really tough one. But I have to be logical and just say Fury and Mongols will bounce back and go through Group A. And I think we're probably going to just boringly see Navi Aurora from Group B. But I think
Yeah.
there's chances for upsets, but I think it's hard for me to argue that to skip, Mongols and Furia. If Mongols had had like 2 tournaments where they were struggling, maybe I wouldn't bet on them, but they've had
Mm-hmm.
1. Furia, they still, made playoff, right? At EPL.
Yep.
so hard to go against them.
Who do you think makes grand final?
I think it's going to be honestly, I think Furia and Navi.
I want to say Navi, but just look at this, right? If what we're saying could happen, where Navi goes into semis and then Imperial or Aurora make it through, Navi will play like the second best of
Group A.
Group A. Yes, that's it. Sorry. And that could be Mongols. Navi did beat Mongols. Yeah. So maybe that's the world it happens in, and we see the grand final end up going
Yeah,
towards Navi go through to the grand finals. It's the second team that goes through. Like,
it might even be a Furia Mongols finals.
so who do you have winning it?
I actually want to say Navi, weirdly enough.
Wow.
Yeah, I've
Wow.
been. Yeah, you see how happy you become. You,
Okay.
yeah, I, I'm gonna
That's
say
pretty
Navi.
cooked. That's pretty
Yeah,
cooked. I respect it. I think Navi have a chance of winning it, and I think this would be the exact boost they needed. Just imagine like you win Star Series, you play a bit better when it comes to EPL, right? And then let me just see, did they? So they beat Mongols,
yeah.
yeah, but they haven't played Furia, yeah, not in
But
anything.
I think generally Navi has been looking better, even
Hmm.
though we know, we talked about it with Wonderful. Maybe it hasn't really gotten into the impact, but team still, I look at them and they work better together. They
Yep.
figured out things for Makase on B Inferno. Like I still see improvements in their game, um, and it's better and better each tournament I look. It's not
Hmm.
hopeless where they're kind of sitting at the same level and not improving. I see improvements quite clearly in their game, so that's why I'm hopeful for them.
It's decent. Let's see what happens. I'll go with Navi winning the whole thing as well. I think it'll either be Navi or Furia. That's just where I'm putting it out. I think it'll
Yeah,
be Navi or Furia to make it through. So let's wait and see. So a couple of events running the same time. Good amount of teams at both of them. Um, we'll be back after these events end. And then where are we on the event schedule? Like where does it go from there? So yeah, when these end on the 19th, we still got a little bit of time before PGL Masters Bucharest, which take place on October 26th to November 1st. Obviously, that gets a bit stung because of the teams going to Chengdu, even with more prize money being on offer for Bucharest. But teams wanted to go to Chengdu because obviously then you go straight from Chengdu to Blast Rivals. That's like Mongols, Vitality, Spirit, Furia, Falcons, Pain, and Tyloo. So that's all those teams are also in attendance in Chengdu. So it works out quite nicely for them. Um, that's the whole thing of the calendars. And then we're very close to the major, mate. It's all happening real soon. So we've only got one more thing to do, Q&A.
yeah,
There was one question by another regular now, Mars, always sending in stuff. He says, for Banks, do you still actively play CS? And did you ever previously play at a high pro level? Were you on a UK team or some random mix? Would love to hear. Thanks. So I can't call it pro level because it was in the UK at the time. I played actively from 2003 to 7. I retired in 2007. I went and played Virtual Fighter 5. I have a silver medal from a WCG UK qualifiers where I competed in Virtual Fighter 5. I took the same thing I was doing and practicing in CS and applied it to a fighting game. I was always very competitive. In the UK scene, I played in like I played in Redefine. I was playing in a lot of the EWC, WCG qualifiers in the UK. I remember some good moments where I played against like Four Kings that had Natu in, which is how I know Natu very well, and some other players. But now how active I am, not so active. You hear I play even a lot more of this Dragon Ball. Where's my face? How do I look on Face It about my account and games? I'm so bad at this. Take it this way. I was not a big fan of CSGO. That's people make people crazy. But I mean, I was a big 1.6 loyalist in many ways. So I didn't start playing Face It more until CS2 came out. So I only have 569 matches on Face It. And I would tell you probably about 400 of those are in CS2. I am level 8 right now. Been level 9 a couple of times. No ever level 10. I play with Devwalk and let him tilt at me. No, he doesn't even tilt too much. He just has the cool. We more tilt at other people. You c-
But I can get pretty tilted.
okay, Devil, you can rate my ability from answering Mars's question in current
Rate your
CS
ability.
active. Yeah.
Oh, what am I comparing against?
Well, obviously not pro fucking players, but I mean, I don't play like a fucking level 5 player who's just been carried through face it levels. I
I
think if I
mean,
played a
Banks
lot, I could be
definitely
level
has
10.
bad movement, but
Facts.
he's surprisingly good aim at times. I think it's just he needs to practice his aim, positioning. Uh,
Ah, everything,
yeah,
everything.
everything. The whole meme. Nobody is decent. He's decent.
We even played our streamer tournament and we didn't come last place, and we
Yep.
had some sick moments in that. We do that every now and again, but I just it's what I think it frustrates me the most is that sometimes I know to make the right decision and I play really good, and then
But I think
I
the
just
biggest problem is like you drop off really hard when you get mad.
yeah,
Like if you
and I
if,
tilt.
sometimes like I'm playing with Banks and I haven't heard him for like 6 rounds. Like completely off. He's just doing his thing. And I think that's when he plays bad. But if he's in a good mood and uh, like when we're playing a tournament or something, he usually can keep his mood up a little bit better than
Yeah.
when we're playing like a face it.
Because
Um,
people on Face It are maybe the dumbest creatures in the world, and we don't 5 stack.
no, I
Yeah,
don't.
like some of the people we get. Do you know what the best teammates are not even the ones that are fans, are just the ones that know who we are and then want to play with you. Like
Yeah.
they actively don't sabotage games. I lose the plot as a 35-year-old man when I have to listen to this shit kid tell me something and he's making the wrong call and he's just a moron and he just loses one round because of something that went sideways and he is, oh, you guys suck. And I'm like, you have no idea who you're playing with. This isn't about me, by the way. It's just like the fact that he's playing with Devil Walk as an example. But it's like how they cannot just listen, grow, and learn. Like some of the people are impossible. But the hard thing is for me is when I play in your lobbies, because your fucking elo is so high, it's like all level 10s and then there's me. Some of them
Yeah.
I do pretty okay in, but I don't understand how some of these people are so bad and they're level 10. Like, how did they do this? How did they achieve this?
I just think it's like for me,
Mhm.
annoying is obviously when you're trying to call, you're trying to organize the team, and no one says yes or no, and they just do their own thing. They just completely ignore everything.
Yeah,
They don't communicate. If they don't want to do it, that's fine. I'm fine with it. But a round starts, you move towards what you called, and then people didn't take anything in. But if you want to do something else, that's fine. I can adjust. I can change things up, and we just do something different. But
yeah.
I get frustrated when you get completely ignored in this game.
The best thing is when you have DevWalk calling for you, and then everything is so much easier. Like that's good. When you're calling, and I just run through games. Like when you use me as just entry,
Yeah,
brainless run. That is my best moments because I get every flash I need, every smoke I need. But the worst, but also, DevWalk's name on Facebook right now is still DevWalk Quack.
no, cack.
Cack, sorry, you took the QAQ, you stole
Yeah,
Amelia's. You even gave up the original DevWalk name for that. You
of
madman.
course.
But that's it. That's all our questions. That's everything we have in there. Next episode will be when does the last so these do they both finish on the same day? Yeah, they both finish on the 19th. So Thunderpick should probably finish still at a good time because its final is 6. So we will probably do the episode at the end of that. Ready for the next day. Get the preview out very early for Bucharest. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. This has been episode 28 of the All About Oh, I just punched I punched the microphone. This has been episode 28 of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. It is very late at night once again, but we're getting these episodes out nice and fast for you all. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and comment. It helps a lot on all of it. If you're an audio-only listener, write a review on whichever platform you're living, rocking it on, 5-star it, Maybe you hate it, 1-star it, whatever you want to do. Can't force you to make any decision on it, but it does help us. So if you like it, do it. We'll see you on the next episode.